Hello, everybody, and welcome to EGF Week 5. I am Loki, joined by Twin Salty for a very exciting night of Overwatch. We've got 3 games coming up, but before that, how are you feeling tonight?
Doing great. Can't wait to see 3 games tonight. In this first one, 2 teams who have been around EGF for a very long time. It's UTA versus Delaware, and then later on, 2 of the newer teams to the conference, Marquette taking on Montana State, and then Hawaii taking on Auburn to end out the night. But this first one, 2 teams who have been here for a long time, but newer looking rosters this season.
Yeah, we've got 2 pretty different stories coming in here. Usually UTA, one of the standout teams this year, struggling a little bit more than we expected. They revamped almost their entire roster. They're only bringing back that one player. Meanwhile, Delaware has absolutely lived up to the hype this year. They have been playing absolutely amazing thus far. They're struggling to drop maps, much less to drop entire matches. And so this one is going to be really interesting. I think this is a good chance for UTA to kind of give their own name and get their own stature out there and kind of get the season back on track.
Yeah, especially for UTA, like you said, Andrew's the only player that came back this year. So it is a relatively new squad here for the Mavericks and a lot of pressure on them for Delaware. Yes, you have some new pieces into this lineup, but everybody's clicking still. It's not like that chemistry's gone away, and you still have Hyper, who's an absolute menace on the Lucio and Ideal Warrior as well, who are just racking up the kills left and right. So Delaware definitely the favorite going into tonight, but that tank battle is definitely going to be one to watch out for.
I mean, especially after some recent changes to Overwatch, where we're kind of like bringing supports a little bit more in line. I think the tank play is going to be huge here, especially with how efficient these tanks can be. Because if you're popping Suzu at the start of the fight now, you're not getting it back for just that little bit longer. And Overwatch is a game of seconds. It's a game of inches. And so being efficient with your resources, especially on the tank play here, is going to be absolutely massive.
It is going to be critical, and like you said, the patch that came in on Tuesday, we saw a lot of changes. Bastion got hit with a little bit of a nerf, which I think everybody around the scene is like, yeah, that was needed. Desperately needed. May had a slight change, and yes, the supports got nerfed a little bit. Diva got a slight buff, and that might mean she's at least usable, and we might see her in our dive maps tonight, Pariso and Watchpoint. We very well could see her.
I mean, I think you can even see them on Busan, depending on what map you're going with here. I think we
downtown?
have 3 potential maps where we could see something other than a Sigma be played, something other than like Sigma, Orisa, Junker Queen. So it could not be more than excited for tonight. I think that this is obviously the first week in EGF where we've seen a big patch come through. This is the first time teams are going to have to adjust, and they're doing it on a short schedule. They've only had 2 days to try and learn that new patch, and as any coach will tell you, that is not generally enough time to get the team adjusted.
Yeah, you may have the general idea of like, hey, this is what we want to do. This is what we think meta is going to be. But you only have so much practice until you get into an actual match where, okay, this is when you're going to figure out if those strats you thought of, they're actually going to work. Maybe somebody else thought of a better strategy into this new meta. So it'll be a very high-intensity practice ground here for both these teams, especially on Map 1 of Busan. There is a lot of questions to be made about, okay, who is going to be the tank? We could see Sigma, like you said, Orisa, especially on this map. We could see playtime. And then once in a great while, we're still seeing the JQ. It is definitely more team-dependent on if teams feel comfortable with it. And at least so far, UTA is going to be one of those teams that may run it.
Ideal Warrior. That makes a little bit more sense. I was going to be a little bit surprised if they rolled out on the Hog. Instead, looks like we're seeing the Sigma. Meanwhile, everything else, though, looks pretty normal for these teams. Lucio Baptiste is absolutely what we expect. Delaware running what I would probably consider default on this current patch. UTA, however, rolling out on a little bit of the spice. I thought that sim was just for the telly. Not so. They're full on running with it. I think this is much like a counter rush specifically to get through default.
This almost feels like a variation of the London comp that we saw throughout Overwatch League finals and playoffs, where yes, you want to teleport Angel around in this comp, try and find somebody in the back line, ideally TVD man, and just catch him off guard with a TP.
does look very kind of EU style. Already, though, Lamp is used. We talked about how you need to be efficient with that. Telly as well, but Andrew couldn't get through it. And with that, it's all cleanup already. This comp that UTA is playing, it's got a lot to it, but if you miss one ability, it can fall apart so quickly.
Yeah, you could just see Andrew was trying to get into that TP, and it just didn't work. It did not happen that time around, so Delaware able to settle in first. And like you said, this is the comp right now, especially with Sojourn just sliding in instead of the Bastion. So a lot of the potent damage that the Bastion brought, but just a little bit more movement.
Teleporter in already, tons of damage going out. Immo to counter it, but look at this. K has stepped up into the pocket. Gonna get punished as a result. Ideal Warrior taking them down, using very little resources on their own, and they're still all stocked up. Rock and Suck ready to go. You see Bucko now trying to force this point a little bit. Not really gonna do much other than force those melee walls out. And Ideal Warrior trying to get set up. Suck still doesn't block Hammer though. That's just gonna swing right on through. And a pretty cheap fight win there for UTA, not using a ton of resources.
Yeah, it didn't have to use an ult that entire time, and it was, yes, even though Andrew pins in, Chaos to throw in the Immortality Field, they're able to survive, and they take advantage of Delaware just being a little bit split, trying to figure out where they wanted to engage, the window to open up for both sides.
It'll be huge. Wall as well going out. It's not going to cut off a ton, though, just give just enough of cover for this UTA squad. Get out of the window. They are forced out of their own window, though, and during this time, Ideal Warrior has pushed point, and they pushed it aggressively. Kills coming through quick, and Delaware only spending a Baptizel.
Yeah, that's it, and like you said, the sim wall just didn't get positioned right. Tags put it a little bit too far back to where a lot of the damage coming in from the Blue Hens was still hitting that front line of the Mavericks, and now they're halfway through. You can see Carter, they're just waiting to throw this Blizzard in. Being sneaky, Ninja May time, and gonna abandon the Ninja play, not gonna abandon the aggression though, sends it right in, forces the teleporter out. This could be huge, but the shatter from Andrew, this might give just enough time. Both teams now having to invest beat in this fight. This is turning into a must win for both teams in order to set up the rest of this pace, and Carter strikes first, taking down the support line of Arlington, and just like that, with no legs to stand on, UTA is sent back to spawn. UTA sent packing, 80% counting now for the Blue Hens as they enter one fight territory. It was just perfect. Yes, you could tell Carter wanted to throw the Blizzard in early, but realized, hey, if they have the TP, it's not going to work right now. They can just TP out of it, so they played the time game, and now as UTA TP's in, they don't have the time to work with.
Overclock set up here for TVD Man with no beat to counter it, but Tags doing a great job of recognizing what player needs to die in order to find this win. Now UTA at their own pace, ready for this telly, and not going to get a ton off of it. Very quickly split up by that rock by Ideal Warrior, and Syrup has put on the DPS hat to throw out some insane damage. Finds 2 kills, window out as well, but a quick wall to counter it. Now Andrew not in a good position. Can they live through this? No, they cannot. TVD Man coming out strong with the overclock and the wall to finish off the point. A strong showing from Delaware.
A very strong showing, just showing the patience there, like, hey, UTA are going to try and just settle in underneath the point, and Delaware just play the poke game. They wait for UTA to be aggressive with that TP, and they just have the punish ready to go. TVD, man, they had to wait a little bit longer than they probably wanted to use the overclock, but they still get the value that they wanted. So that'll be the win over on downtown, and we head into Mecha Base for our second round. Delaware, no reason to swap anything. It worked great for you that time around. The only swap here for the Mavericks so far is Buckle shifting over to the Bastion. We talked about it earlier. Obviously, he still has a lot of value, breaking the shield, breaking those May walls. There's not as much damage from that nade as it used to.
Yeah, and it's longer cooldowns and more spread as well, so it's less accurate and happens less often. So Buckward here going to have to make a lot of work with that cannon, as well as probably pushing the W key a lot harder than normal. But if you want a tank in order to help you press W, Andrew's probably that tank. Already now trying to go over the high rope. Good wall to come in, but Tags is going to die for it. Resources need to be gotten out here by UTA. Not really going to find anything. Bastion form getting utterly nullified by Ideal Warrior. Just dipping right now with the tank play. It is absolutely insane what this Sigma can do.
Yeah, the Sigma right now, in this meta, almost has the highest carry potential in the entire game. I would say a Sojourn at the top level, yes, can absolutely carry a game, but you can just tell Ideal Warrior is in full control of this game. They're shutting down Buckle. You can see it right there, even though actually they lose both supports.
Oh. Yeah, with both supports out here, gonna be very enticing. See if they can hold this huge Sigma lift. Ambitious, can it find anything? Not a ton, but it does keep Ideal Warrior alive just that little bit longer. This allows for picks on the other side. TVD, man, doing all they can. They want one person take out the DPS line, and with a little bit of help, take out the support line. It's just Andrew left on the point, and TVD has shown that it's not just Ideal Warrior who can one-man turn a fight.
I can't believe they brought that back around. Ideal Warrior with one of the more gutsy fluxes I've seen in a long time. They're able to at least deal the damage, force out the sound barrier from Jupiter, and then from there, Carter picks up one. TVD man finds two more, and all of a sudden, the Blue Hens take the fight.
I mean, that's just an ambitious play there. I'm amazed it worked, but it's going to put them in a pretty easy fight territory here. May Blizzard out, not finding a ton, but it's going to find the important target, Andrew. Once they're out with no tank, the rest of UTA is going to be very quick running back to spawn. They're not even going to really take this fight.
You know, there's no reason to really, especially, 25% left. You got to play this as it is your final fight, and they will rotate over to this left side. Hyper will call it out, and they still have the beat to use to try and answer this Blizzard.
Beat and overclock for Delaware right now. Blizzard is out, but once again, Tags is dying for it. Seems to be the story of the day right now. Tags gets great play and doesn't live to see the other side. Buckle here going to get a good pick on Carter to even it right back out. But the overclock is out now for TVD, trying to chase him down. Not going to be able to catch the Lucio, looking at the Tracer. Not going to be able to catch them either. TVD's just isolated on this point by themselves. Going to find nothing for the overclock. But don't worry, we've got Syrup and Ideal Warrior killing everyone on UTA.
Man, Delaware, it seems like some of these fights are like, okay, UTA is starting to get an advantage. They're like, nah, we're just going to turn it right back around. Don't worry about it. As TVD, man, one of the newer players on this roster, showing up big here for Delaware. This is that second fight where that they just miraculously brought back. Nobody is looking at them this entire time. They're so focused on Ideal that, the Sojourn just casually goes off for 3, finishes the 4th later on. What a play there from TVD just to make sure, hey, they're not looking at me. Let's take full advantage of this and then bring that fight back around.
With that, we're going to cut to a short break before we get back into that Overwatch action. We'll be back in a moment with Map 2. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to EGF Overwatch. We've got Delaware versus University of Texas at Arlington, getting ready for map 2 here. And this one might be a little bit interesting with how it sets up that different high ground and dive opportunities.
Yeah, we are going over to Pariso for our second map, and yes, we could definitely be seeing some of the dive here, but if you're UTA, the worry is this is also, especially on defense, a very prolific poke map to where, yes, not UTA, Delaware is going to be diving even more into, hey, putting Ideal Warrior and TVD Man in spots to shine. This is a map that's perfect for that play style, so UTA will have to try and find a way to put pressure on both of them, especially TVD, because they just kept getting away with murder. Like, they were just left and right on their flank routes. And UTA, yes, they caught him once or twice, but we saw it in the play of the game. You just got to make sure there's constant pressure on someone like that.
Yeah, I mean, this TVD is absolutely insane. I do have to admit, as much as I love Andrew, they're one of my favorite tanks in the game. They really, really like the Reinhardt. And
Yeah.
playing the Reinhardt on something like Paricio is quite difficult.
Impossible?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see them try and rotate to a different hero, especially a more dive-oriented hero if they play that. We did see them pull out the Sigma very quickly at the end of Busan, so possibly we see the Sigma on this map. I love this UTA squad. I've scrimmed against them a lot. I've played against them a lot. I've seen them a lot. I don't know how much I trust their dive. Is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if they try and lean more into the dive, or if they will just try and force the poke rush hybrid that we've seen over the last month or so. But like you said, this is not a team that's known for dive. Like, they have never been known prolifically for dive. Yes, they've had their ball comps here and there over the years, but this is not a ball meta by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not sure when ball is ever going to be back in the meta.
I mean,
It's going to be a while. It's gonna be a long time, and then it just seems like, yes, they love this Reinhardt, and you've just been prolific on it for a long time, but there is a time and a place where, like, okay, we need to try something else. So I'm curious to see what they want to try and pull out.
I mean, if there's a time to adjust, it's probably now. I think if you spend any more time trying to force in things, it's not going to happen. At that point, you're setting yourself for a reverse sweep. You might as well give yourself 2 maps so you can try to make changes and adjust rather than just the 3rd map. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah. So I would really, really like to see UTA make some changes here. I think they're in a good place to. They are captained by Andrew, an incredibly smart veteran tank. They've been in this scene for a very long time, and they know the game incredibly well. So they're led by, a good captain, a good IGL. They've got the knowledge. It's just going to be interesting to see how they apply that against this team as well coached and developed as Delaware.
Yeah, that'll be the key question. And, Delaware, their ability to bring back fights to where, like, we saw it on Mecha Base, especially, like, we were both like, hey, he's using Flux. Okay, like, that's ambitious, but, we'll see how it goes. And next thing you know, yes, they die for it, but they bait out so much that they're able to finish up the rest of the kills, especially, Carter and TVD. So I want to see more plays like that here from Delaware, and especially, Carter. We didn't get to talk about him a whole lot because, we saw TVD Man and Ideal and Syrup making all these crazy plays. But these walls have been consistently good, and they're putting Andrew in very awkward spots to where it made the Rhine nearly impossible to play.
Absolutely. I mean, Delaware right now is just playing very, very efficient. And they're making sure that nothing that UTA is getting is for free. And so even when they're losing 1, they're losing 2, their tank is on 100 health, they know, oh, this is still winnable because no one on UTA has any more resources. Like, we've traded kills, we've traded space, and we've traded out every single resource and ability that they can use at us. So there's nothing they can do at this point. So why not just sit here and turn this fight and rely on our mechanics? I mean, I want to even say that Sigma Flux that we saw at the end on Busan there wasn't even necessarily looking for damage. It was just elevating Ideal Warrior as a target in UTA's mind and baiting all of the aggression, baiting all of the attention, and then just letting TVD play so incredibly free. right at the end there. I mean, that's just incredibly massive. As well, for Ideal Warrior to stay alive while taking all of that attention and identifying themselves as a juicy target. Not only did they set out, the bait for the trap, they got to keep the bait too. They didn't even have to, spend it on the fishing line.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we'll just take it back. Cool. Like, it was like, hey, I can put all the attention on me. I can draw a beat. I can draw out all these resources. Lamp was already used. And let's have some fun with it. Like, that was, you could tell Ideal was like, okay, why not? We'll see what happens, because he has the trust in his DPS line, who were the only ones there at that point. They had no supports to bring it back around. And, Hyper sped in Syrup to make sure they came back pretty quickly. But Delaware, there's a lot of trust there. Like, they were just at CCC East. They played pretty well. I believe they got knocked out in semifinals to Fisher, which it's Fisher. Like losing to Fisher is not a bad thing. They're a top 3 team in the country for a reason. So they're a team that's got a lot of experience as of late. They have that lane experience now they can kind of lean on for the rest of this EGFC season when, it's crazy. We only have 3 more weeks of action until the end of the fall split, which is, that doesn't feel right at all. I can't lie to you. It does not feel right.
It does feel like we're kind of seeing it all just develop and just kind of come into its own at this point. With that, though, we are seeing a new look from Delaware. They are going to be looking at this D.Va at the moment. As I was, that's going to be UTA with Delaware there. We're going to see names of spot right now. Ideal Warrior for the Sigma and Delaware. Andrew, meanwhile, UTA. So we're going to see dive versus poke, and typically we see this flopped. We see the dive on attack and the poke on defense. Delaware, though, not willing to take that one lying down, and Hyper. The support damage from Delaware is just insane every single time, finding kills left and right. Ideal Warrior now finds Buckle as well with the rock. Andrew, late kill on a support, though. Don't think that's going to be enough, but if UTA can regroup really quick here, they can probably get another recontest on this point.
Hyper's frustrated. He lost the 1v1 to the baby diva of Andrew, so little unfortunate there if you're Hyper, but Delaware, great push. They could just tell, like, hey, just try and find someone who is a little isolated as Hyper is. Just venting his frustrations a little bit in chat. Obviously, these two teams know each other very well. In the Route 66 server, they talk all the time, so not shocked that a little bit of banter is going back and forth. But Hyper is aggressive as a support as it is, and putting them on one of the best damage dealing supports in the game right now is not a bad idea here for them.
Andrew here looking at the fight. K as well on a nice high ground. I don't know that they can take too much damage. Right as I say that, Hyper doing a really good job just finding any angle they can. Bumping a little bit more. Tags needs to fight that angle out to protect their Ana. Gonna be able to a little bit here. Andrew laying out health a little bit. Oh no, what a huge window. Immediately gonna force Andrew out without the protection. The backline for UTA has disappeared into smoke. What an amazing window there.
A great window, and UTA was at least able to stall for a bit of time, try and take down the time just a little bit, but as Andrew gets staggered out like they said they would, it just didn't. They couldn't get the kills. Delaware had all that time in there and space just to kind of chill out, wait for their abilities to come back, and then pop the window to burst on through. And Andrew, they've given up on the D.Va dream, especially going into the enclosed part of the final bit of this map. They're just going to match the Sigma, which I think now it puts them at least a closer deal here with the comps, because now it's basically a mirror here, just with different DPS.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Sigma here. I think it works better for the DPS that UTA is bringing anyways. Generally with the Ash Soldier, you want them playing the different angles. Sigma just kind of holds up the middle, and that does seem to be the plan here. As you see Tags looking for a shot on this off angle right now, trying to track down Syrup. Not able to, though. Syrup, really good AD spam there to just stay in the angle and not take any damage. Carter now looking to fight out Andrew. They've got the nano on them. The Delaware here, a really good kite back into this corner, taking Andrew away from the rest of their team. Buckle is going to find a kill on TVD, man, and that is absolutely huge. If they can get us off angle, push a little bit more, get on the backline of support, they can turn this and just close this fight out right here, right now. But no, Delaware just does not die. The fight continues on, and for the re-engagement coming through, Carter finally going to die, but chaining out Buckle very quickly here. This puts Delaware in the driver's seat. Ult coming out now for TVD, man. We've seen this be massive before. And it finds something it can. Takes down Jupiter, but a Bob now tries to stabilize this fight. Andrew has an off tank at least for a moment. And Tag's gonna find enough damage to close this one out after everyone in the game presses Q, it feels like.
Yeah, everybody's like, hey, we're gonna throw this in, and we're gonna throw this and that, and Jupiter might be kicking themselves a little bit. They use the Captive Sun, and they get blasted by the Overclocker TVD, man, right after. So, one of the best ults in the game right now, taken away. But UTA eventually able to claw their way back in. Delaware just never had the true manpower to try to take full advantage of the fight, and Buckle was able to lock it down.
I mean, hey, if you want to get the manpower advantage, call in the big robot friend. Huge window out there. Immediately, Andrew's shield is melted, and Andrew follows suit very quickly with a big flux into the back. You gotta feel like UTA is on borrowed time at this point. Gonna be desperate to try and get back to this cart before Delaware can set up in a good position here, and I don't know that UTA has a really good re-engage. I mean, look at that ult economy.
Yeah, Andrew tried to pop ult as that window was going down, so they get shut down. 2 ultimate shutdowns now against UTA, and you can only get away with it so much, and like you said, they have nothing now to work with, maybe a late tac visor.
Well, a good pick on Carter gives them the man advantage. You can see Jupiter pushing aggressively onto Idea Warrior, forces them back into their supports and off that angle, back into a nice little spot here. This can be huge. Buckle looking for their own little attack point. Andrew is pushing up very aggressively right now, finding all of the space, and Buckle uses all of it to great decree, finds a double kill off the Rockets, and UTA gets to live for at least a little bit longer and gets a little bit more resources in the tank.
Yeah, that's a big fight for them, honestly, because now they can start building up those ultimates again, like you said. They have that tac visor. Now they'll have the window from K, who just swapped a little bit ago. This is now at least turning into a doable situation here for the Mavericks.
TA now. 3 ults on the docket. 2 more coming up very quickly. Make that 1 more as Jupiter has fallen. Here's the blade in. You really would like a beat right now, but you're not going to be able to find one. Never mind. Who needs a beat when you have pure damage, baby? Delaware mowed down by UTA's DPS.
The unsung hero of that fight is K. They throw the window down and the lamp to make sure, hey, Buckle, go crazy. Get as much as you can from this window as they just dance between the window to make sure, hey, they take out Carter right away, and then everybody else will fall shortly after. And this poke now from UTA, ever since they've, fully committed to it, has been working pretty well.
Window up now. Andrew has fallen from this before. Gonna have the ammo for it. K gonna fall though without the ammo for themselves. Now TVD left to go free. Beat to counter it out. Not gonna be able to find a ton there, but cart has to be touched. Andrew still focused on up top. Can they get out this hyper behind them? Don't know that they can. With a shove up onto point, that might be all she wrote. Still, never mind. Andrew living on just a little bit more. Can anyone get back in time? No. In a minute 05 will be the final time for Delaware. An absolutely insane hold on point 3.
A great hold for UTA, especially because, it was not looking great going into that third phase. They had just under, 6 minutes going into final phase. So the fact that you knock it down to 105, it is a pretty solid defense here for the Mavericks. Those 5 seconds, though, may make a giant impact. Because now if they don't cap with any time, they can't push in overtime. It is just the Blue Hens who will. So it could be a very valuable 5 seconds down the line.
Yeah, that 1 minute barrier is huge. That's why you saw Andrew trying to commit to it so much. They didn't need to win the fight. They just needed to, survive for 5 more seconds. Not gonna be enough though for UTA. I really would like to see them on that poke comp more. They looked incredibly strong on it. And yeah, that is what they're going to be starting off with here. Widow for the quick pick. Echo for a little bit of Echo gameplay. I love Echo on Parisi, honestly. She's so fun. I'm so sad we don't get to see more Echo gameplay.
I don't think she's in a horrible spot right now. I think she's just so map dependent. It does suck, but she's incredibly fun to watch. But Delaware running the Torb to start off here.
Which, I mean, is that just that's like a scouting
pick. I don't mind
pick.
It actually, and if it's an accidental counter, the tags, because I have a feeling, hey, unless they knew maybe the Echo was going to be something that could pop up, but that's going to keep tagging checking some of these flanks.
But I feel like that's pure scouting right there. Just knowing, you know, hey, they're probably gonna run the Echo. We've skimmed them before. We talk a lot. They know each other well. Carter ready to call it out, and with Buckle and Tags, you're gonna see it once again. That really big fight out on the wings. Both Buckle and Tags gonna be looking for a lot of those individual picks. Buckle really pushing out Hyper right now. Gets him down to half. Can't find the kill though. Now they're boxing out with Carter, putting a lot of damage into the back line of this Delaware squad. But so far, Delaware bending but not breaking. Some good damage on the sticky. He's gonna do a little bit more, but UTA really struggling to find an entry here.
Yeah, they're struggling to find any sort of way to break into it. And, you know, time will tell if they can actually get through. But right now, Tags, you can see, they poke out. Half their health is almost gone just by poking out for a second. It's going to take a long time to try and break through in Delaware. Already holding for over a minute.
Yeah, I think Bath Window might be the play at this point. Try to charge it up before Delaware can. They're at 92%. Looking for pressure on Ideal Warrior. Buckle's just free on this angle right now, but it never matters because there's cover to go back to keep him alive. Now, both windows up. We're seeing the tank up for Ideal Warrior. Jupiter has charged their own beat to try and counter it out. Imo has to get popped to counter the window from Syrup. And in the meantime, Buckle finally finds progress on that flank, but it's not quite the progress they were looking for, going the opposite direction that time.
Yeah, half the time's almost gone, and we talked about it earlier. Yes, dive can be great on this map, but the poke here for Delaware, they're in such a comfortable spot. You gotta think for UTA, he's gotta find somewhere to fully commit, and you gotta pray, and you have the ultimates that we at least do it now as 4, maybe even all 5 ultimates here able to use.
Yeah, UTA really needs to find a good Q here, but gonna get, you know, forced out once again. Never mind, Buckle decides it's time to send it. No more waiting. Visor is popped with the window. Doesn't step into the MO. Eventually, though, finds CBD Man. CBD steps a little bit too far in early, but you see the issue here now. That turret covers so much ground. Buckle wasn't ever able to push their advantage. Now a captive Sun forces everyone back. And so the momentum the UTA had has just disappeared. And Echo ult to come out now. Double Sigma on the field. Immediately copy demolished, and no progress out of that Sigma lift, as a lot of resources being thrown into the fight by UTA, but no progress as a result of it. One pick came during this fight, and it didn't even find anything. They weren't able to capitalize it. They got beat up by a turret.
That's went from bad to worse for the Mavericks. You use 4 ultimates, and you just can't get anything done. And poor Tags at the end, you can tell it's like, oh, I'm either in turret view, in Carter's view, or in the Molten Core. There is no winning, right? You're just gonna have to die in Delaware again. They're just so patient. You can tell everybody just backed up when attack visor were used. Well, except TVD, man, they get caught out in bottom left. But the patience from the squad is working out. Now UTA, they just have to bank on this Zombie to keep them in this fight.
They'll have possibly a killer beat. Gonna need to get used to keep Andrew up. Wasn't what they were looking for. And yeah, TVD, man, sees the beat go out. That's the green light to just kill everybody. Ideal Warrior going to pop an ult there as well. Not the most economical of fights, but I don't really know how much it's gonna matter. All of UTA going on to the stall picks, the desperation. How fast can we get back point? And Tags already taking some damage for it. 10 seconds left on the clock. Can they manage to find an entry? Make that 6, make that 5. You see Jupiter and Tags going on different routes. Tags gonna get called out. Gets hit but doesn't die. Manages to trigger this overtime, but now Andrew has to step up onto this point. Not able to find a ton, barely able to keep a toe on, but they're having to use all of their resources for it. Suzu out as well now, and Andrew is back to spawn. Captive Sun to finish us out, and just like that, Delaware improves to a 2-0 on the match.
That was the Delaware we are very familiar with. What a defense there. I believe a full hold, 0 ticks given up. And the Blue Hens, they're sitting pretty now. And again, a lot of it is onto this man right here, TVD man, time after time finding those picks. And this was at the end where, like, okay, Sunbear is just going to be used to try and keep UT in the fight, but when they're hitting shots like that, the Sound Barrier is only going to do so much. It's going to delay, but not really save you in reality. So Delaware 2-0 now as we get ready to go into the next map. But you gotta think if you were UTA, it's like, hey, we looked at least okay on the poke on the defense, but the offense, there was just no breaking into it.
I mean, honestly, I think if there was any time to play the Diva comp they were playing, it was on that offense right there,
The
especially going
offense,
into a
yeah.
toy run where you've got an Echo that is putting out a ton of resources but can't get through a turret. There's a whole ability meant to, solve exactly that problem on the tank roll. Not seeing it today though. The K-pop skin has to stay in spawn at least for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That power can't be unleashed yet. You can, that's like Exodia. You can only pull it out when the time is right.
Yeah.
Um, Going into this next one though, I do think UTA is showing a lot of strength here, and I think we're seeing a really good game from them. I just don't know if it's enough against this Delaware squad, because any one of those players on the Delaware squad can step up in a fight and be the star player. We've been seeing the flex supports do it. We've been seeing both of the DPS do it. We've been seeing Ideal Warrior do it all day long. And you kill one and you just allow another one to step up. You try to focus one out. All it does is leave another door open. And with Saravasa up next, this is a map known for giving chances for good individual plays. That looks spicy.
It's not the greatest map here for UTA to play next because, like you said, individual plays here run rampant, especially on hit scan. There is a lot of these objectives to where there are some very long sight lines and some very safe high grounds, I will say, that you can kind of play around, especially if you're on Ash, if you're on Sojourn, Hanzo, whatever you want to go on. You have a lot of free range to kind of just do whatever you want, and it takes a lot for the other team to put pressure on you if they don't have a hit scan of their own. So it may be a struggle here for UTA if they're not able to win the first fight of each point. But it's something that they can definitely do, and there's some bright spots here for UTA, especially on the defense. They looked a lot better. The heals have been there for a lot of the time, and they're staying in these fights. Especially their Baptiste has done an excellent job, but it just doesn't seem like that final bit is there to finish the job on some of these kills. In Delaware, they keep surviving on 50 health, 60 health. The finishing blow has just not been there so far for UTA. And, on a map like on a game mode like Flashpoint, you only really get about 2 or so fights on each point if they win both. With it being percentage every 0.8 seconds out of the 1.2, that's normal and control. It can get a little rough for teams if you cannot get an early advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I will say UTA has a little bit of a silver lining here. Flashpoint in general, but especially Saravasa, does lean towards Brawl on a lot of its
That
points.
is true.
And so that's what UTA is good at. That's always been what they've ran. That's what Andrew has excelled at their entire time on this team. So if you wanted to play like Junker Queen, for example, and play a really, really aggressive brawl, now's the time to do it. If you wanted to even play a Reinhardt, there's a whole point on Saravasa that's literally just a cage where everyone has to run into the middle of it and get swung at by a Reinhardt. So if you wanted to play something like that, it's the time to do it. Like, the time is now. You're not going to find a better map during this entire series.
Yeah, like if you're gonna run the Rhine Rush and just play full comfort, this is when you do it. Like, you can run, even if you want to run the sim, you can even run into this variation. If they want to go back to whether it be a sim cast, sim may, something along those lines, it is workable on certain parts of this map, especially the opening round. Very much a sim map. You can teleport in, your turrets can be in very awkward spots, and the lighting in there isn't always the greatest. So it can be a little hard to see where those sim turrets are. So I kind of want UTA to run Rush here with the Rhine, depending on what they want to run with DPS, because that is their comfort pick. And that I do think is the best chance. Because they tried to run Poke against Delaware and they tried to match it, and we saw how that worked out. And I at least respect them for giving it a shot, but it obviously didn't work, so you got to think of something new at this point.
And as much as I do love to see the dive, that's not exactly what you want to be looking for on any Flashpoint, but especially not Saravasa. And so I really do think it is time for that Rhine. The big thing here, probably the name of this Saravasa, is going to be TBD Man. And how can you shut him down? Clearly, just sending, one of your DPS out on the flank to try and deal with it is not working. I think we saw 1 kill on the TVD with that style, and it came off of attack visor. So and this map just gives so many good spots for a Sojourn to play on. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what the reaction to it is. Reaction to it at the moment seems to be, let's throw a Genji at the problem. I don't hate that decision at all.
And I don't hate that or the Zarya,
yeah,
to be honest
like
with
Zarya
you.
as well. This is definitely a different look, but it's one that I'm interested to see how it goes.
This is like beginning of Overwatch 2 era comp right here.
Absolutely.
Like with the Zarya back in play, you got tags on the Genji. I respect it. Honestly, I do think, hey, if you're going to make a swing, do something like this. It allows tags to be way more aggressive with those Zarya bubbles attached to them. So, yeah, why not? I think this is a great look for UTA.
I think especially if you just throw Jupiter and tags at the problem of TVD man together, that probably opens up a lot for you there. Because both of those characters can get out whenever they need to as well. So no real fear. Already here's tags. Going after the backline actually. Getting served to about half health. Not going to find too much more than that. Going to have to use the deflect, and TVD times it perfectly. Knocks him off the high ground, and K falls as well. Now everyone just pushes W, and someone get the mob, because good God, clean up on aisle 5.
It looked so good for UTA at the beginning, and then it just everything fell down into pieces. As tags gets clipped early on in that fight, right after they used the deflect. Great focus fire there from the Blue Hens to make sure the Shimada brother is out of the equation, and then the rest of UTA just gets cornered. Doesn't have the sustain with the Kiriko, and there you go. Tag's not even in this fight.
Yeah, and it looks like everyone else is going to be very quickly following them. A wall to keep everyone in this fight, and Delaware wants to close out this point as soon as possible. You can look at them even staggering it through here. No chance now that Mavericks are going to have a recontest on this point. The one person who might have an okay touch is tags, but like, why even commit the life when you're immediately going to have to rotate?
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, they're not going for it. They're going to wait and see where the next flashpoint will be. So first flashpoint over to the University of Delaware. And you can see second one is unlocked, and they do at least win the gamble there. And they will be able to reach that point first, as they've already settled in. But it's weird. Without the BAP, they have to play so fast, and Delaware have recognized this, and they're taking their time.
And this is probably one of the more unlucky points that it could end up on for the Mavericks here. Great high ground, great viewpoints, and plenty of cover for any DPS to hide behind. Hyper gonna take down tags. Tags once again spending most of these fights back in spawn. Andrew quick to follow, and Buckle finds the first kill onto Delaware of the match. Able to take down Ideal Warrior, but not gonna get too much for it.
Yeah, not enough to really get out of it. I think if you're UTA, you gotta use Kitsune Rush right away and then swap. The Kiriko is not working the way you would have wanted it to. My guess is they were maybe expecting like a Doom comp or something, or a JQ from Delaware, but when they've been running the same thing all day, it's not gonna change much in tags. Man.
It's just the first pick every fight. They're only at 80% to Dragon Blade after 3. That's just brutal. And I don't think it's about problem on their fight. I just think TBD is that good. Grab and Kitsune out rush now, trying to find a little bit more. Great timed beat there. Perfect to just sustain everyone through it. Re-engage now with the May ult. Can Carter fall? Yes, they can. But that's going to be a little bit of an edge value as the rest of UTA see the writing on the wall. Okay, ducks themselves off the point. Jupiter is still kind of having their own fight away. Finally, they managed to escape and find their own death. And UTA on their last legs now.
Yeah, this will be a second flashpoint captured, and they will stick onto the Curie for UTA. I'm guessing at this point, it's like, we just need to commit to it. And in a way, I can respect it, but I don't know if it's the right call, if I'm going to be bluntly honest.
I just don't think it's
now.
appealing to go up against this Blue Hen squad.
Yeah, I get, like, you got to stick to your guns, and dude, these early picks are just killing them right now.
It's every single fight is a 45. Tags not finding anything on the blade. And that's just going to be it. Andrew at half health. K gets taken down by TVD, man. That's been a story we've been seeing all day long. And no one on Delaware is willing to change the script quite yet.
Hey, there we go. K will swap. They will make the full rush swap. So this is a good call. Again, I'm glad they at least they made the swap eventually. Maybe not when we thought they were going to, but they do make the swap over to the Rhine, Bastion, and the May. The window will be used, but Arlington are able to escape it.
Yeah, that's a really good rotate here to nullify the window, set themselves up on point. Issue is now, how do you get onto this point with all this damage coming through? There's the speed through the wall. Not really going to close a lot off though. Ideal Warrior able to just rotate on back out. Carter falls pretty low here. Going to have Cryo out for it. Can Buckle find a little bit more? Here's the Sigma Lift. Living this is huge. Jupiter has the beat for it, but TVD Man still has this overclock. Not going to need it. Andrew flies off the map, and that leaves everyone on UTA just open to be taken down. Tay is living for quite a while, but that's not a benefit to them. Actually, no, as it was, they flipped the point. I did not realize that.
Yeah, they flipped the point early in the fight, so they do at least gain their first percentage of this map. And it takes it from, hey, they are rushing over to this point to get a touch, to where, you know, they can take their time. They know this is one fight territory still, but they can at least take their time going into this fight and try and play around this K window to at least find an early pick.
DVD, the uncovered overclock ready to go. Carter as well, pretty close to it. You can see them there charging it up. This is a really well-paced fight just to try and get everyone the ults they need. That window's not the angle you're looking for, because they can just place Blizzard right on top of you. Everyone's frozen. I don't know that they even get a chance to touch the point with that, much less survive. And just like that, Delaware shows exactly how this team is.
A nice, clean 3-0 sweep here for the Blue Hens over their rivals in UTA. They will fall to 2-2. Delaware up to 4-0 after 5 weeks of play. Both teams already had their bye weeks, but what a play here from Delaware tonight. And time again, they just find ways to win fights that they shouldn't win. You know, they're in awkward spots. They have the ult disadvantage, and yet the Blue Hens, they just find ways. And that is just the Delaware way that's been here for a long time, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
I mean, they find ways to win the fights they shouldn't, and they pretty much always win the fights they should.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing control across the board there from Delaware. Great macro play. I love how their play is tuned perfectly to open up those personal mechanical plays that the rest of the team is so good on. I mean, every support was pulling out huge DPS, both DPS obviously doing their job in spades, but a lot of that wasn't just like, oh, they're just so good. The way they played as a team and set themselves up just allowed for that free-flowing individual play nature without having to worry, am I going to get knocked down by a stray DPS halfway through it?
Yeah, it was like, okay, if you're UT, it's like, okay, where's TVD, man? Like, you kind of have to look all over the place. Like, am I gonna get sniped out of nowhere here with an ult shot? But in Delaware, like, you know, we're hanging out. You know, they're just doing their thing. There was no stress on them this entire series. It felt like, and that was just, it was clean. That was a clean 3-0 from Delaware. There's nowhere else you can say it. Like, that was just the Delaware 3-0 way.
Yeah, with that, though, we are going to throw to a short break, but we'll be back soon with a little M&M's. Montana State versus Marquette. That game scheduled for 9 EST. Be ready for that. We'll be back with more Overwatch action. Hello everybody, and welcome back to week 5 of the fall split of EGF. We've got a little M&M action coming at you today, and it should be very interesting. Both of these teams winless so far. So after today, one of them will graduate to getting their first win of the split. I could not be more excited to see it. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling optimistic about both these teams. We've seen some sprites of hope from both sides, and curious to see what Marquette and Montana State will be able to bring out. And I will say, I may, in a small portion of my heart, be slightly biased. I grew up maybe an hour away from Marquette. So I grew up watching Marquette games, a slight amount of like internal heart bias, but obviously I think Montana State's arguably looked a little better over the last 4 weeks. At least the good things we've been able to pull out of their games was, yes, they've had a rough schedule. They've had a rough beginning of this season, but I do think tonight, well, obviously one of them will get on the board and, like you said, graduate from the winless club. But I'm very curious to see which team it will be, especially after, the changes in the game that we talked about in the first game.
Well, the first win is always the hardest to get. After that, it's just all downhill from there. Yeah, you are right though about Montana State just pulling bad hands time after time. They started with Delaware right into Hawaii. After that, they played UConn. Like it has not been kind to them. Yeah, RIT was their match last week. The universe has not looked upon Montana State kindly thus far, but they have performed well within those matches.
Yeah, it'll be something like you talked about. Like, it's been a rough go. Like when you play Delaware and Hawaii right away, it's
and
a
then
lot
roll that
to ask.
right into a week 4 RIT.
Yeah, right. It's so rough, honestly. So I can't blame them to a sense. Like, yes, you've had a very rough schedule up to this point. Connecticut, you showed some signs of life in that series, but still weren't able to take it away. So now you really enter a series to where, hey, you can take control of this. Like, this is something that you can do a lot with. So I'm very curious to see what they can do. And, Marquette's a team that there's some pretty familiar faces on here. Axehand and Stomps, both from last year. Axehand seemed to be the utility man for this team time and time again. So I want to see if they can really bring up and cook up something unique because, you can run a lot of looks, but obviously that Sigma poke comp that we saw earlier today, it's running rampant, and there's a reason why it's being played to this degree. So curious if either team is going to try and mirror that kind of effect.
Yeah, Royal Ranger has also been playing incredibly incredibly up until now. They've been, one of the shining beacons here for Marquette. On the other side of Montana, Sneak 3 is another one of those players where they're just a hit scan that kind of has, just a DPS that kind of has that it factor where they can just decide all of a sudden, you know what, I think I want to win this fight. Actually, they can fourth quarter Tom Brady it, if you will, and just kind of pull it out of nowhere. Honestly, though, Marquette has had an equally hard time leading up to this. They've also played Delaware, Hawaii, and then a Delaware again, I believe. No, as I was, they did Hawaii, UTA, Delaware. So they've also had a hell of a time getting this point. Oh, and then Tennessee last week. So both of these teams have basically played the best possible teams they can up until now. So, should be interesting to see how it goes from here. Busan, Parisio, Surabasa, the 3 guaranteed maps. After that, we might go to Watch Point and New Queen Street. We're seeing lots of opportunities for dive on these maps. Thus far, we've only seen dive attempted once, and it was not successful, to say the least.
Yeah, it fell on its face pretty poorly, and we saw UTA change it up pretty quickly just because it just didn't work on Putty. So I think that was more
the defense
due to the fact that Delaware, well, yes, it was a defense dive, which I think they took a gamble on, hey, maybe they're going to run dive themselves. And it just didn't work. They weren't able to run the counter dive like they were wanting to. And I think it also was a testament, hey, Delaware was just on point tonight. I think there's no way else around it. Delaware were on their A game. So I want to see if either team maybe wants to lean over to that Diva, maybe even the Winston. He had a very slight buff to his alternate fire with the range. So, not a game-breaking change by any source of the imagination. Like, if anything, it's more of like a quality of life change. So, like, it should go a little farther, and it's not like it is going to be super detrimental to anybody going against it.
I've never heard anyone complain that the Winston shot goes too far.
Yeah, it's like they could add 5 damage. They could add 20 damage to that thing. I don't think people are really gonna care. Like, it doesn't get used a whole lot, and I think Winston's already noticed for being up in your face. So, maybe Blizzard cooks and they do a wild Winston change one of these days. But for now,
Winston sniper
I don't
tank?
think we're gonna see him. Maybe
uses the jump to
like a triple sniper,
jump around. Hey, we can dream.
Yeah.
Don't think we're gonna see too terribly much Winston today. I think it's probably gonna be locked in of those big three: Orisa, Sigma, and Junker Queen with a side dish, an appetizer, if you will, of Diva every once in a while. I think outside of those four tanks, it's pretty hard to play anything. Zarya is somewhat effective sometimes.
Kinda.
She kind of pops up on push a lot of the time, actually.
Yeah.
Especially on like Esperanto. She's rather popular there. Calicio is actually a really good map for her as well. So like she has playtime, but typically only on map 5, and map 5 is a rarity here in EGF.
Yeah, we wish we went to map 5 more, but it doesn't seem to roll our way a lot of the time. And Grant, it is a lot to ask. Hey, both teams win 2 maps. We'll see where it goes from there. But as we see both teams lock in, actually a hero we did not mention at all in the tank line Montana State's teasing, the Ramatra, which I don't mind it. I think it'll have a lot of issues though if Zippy does decide to stick onto this Bastion in a very Delaware-esque comp.
Yeah, Marquette here running default of last patch. It should be plenty fine this patch, just a little bit less effective, a little bit harder to do. Meanwhile, Montana State pulling out a completely new look. They've even got the Life Weaver in there. I mean, this is the first time we've seen most of the characters in this game, all of today. After 3 maps, we haven't seen a Widow yet, we haven't seen a Reaper yet, we haven't seen a Life Weaver yet. I don't think we saw a Ramatra either, so only one hero in Montana being played before this one thus far. And struggling a little bit here on the outset. Kaksai getting pushed back in their own spawn, or pushed back into their own main, gonna be forced to go on a rotate here. Still though, just gonna give Marquette the point. No chance on a contest here. Big E forced out very quickly from that one, and Zippy throwing in a ton of damage, already to 60% on the ult charge, and looking to add on a little bit more. Nemesis form out for Kaksai, and they're not really finding the ton. Does get lifted out of danger there by No Mercy. That's a really good support play. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your support is if you're not finding kills and the percentage on this point is just continuing to pick up. Finally, kills start to come through after a very lengthy affair. Sneak 3 and Kaksai gonna get sent back to spawn, and that's gonna be fight number 1 for Marquette.
Yeah, fight number 1, and apologies. I'm not sure why the kill feed isn't showing up. I think that might be something producer Time to Light's gonna work on figuring out here in the next moment. But they just took a long time to try and actually engage. Like, they didn't go in. They kind of just stood there for a while, and I think it may be more of a server issue, as we just get told in our ear it's nothing to do with him in normal Time to Light fashion. Which, by the way, shout out Time to Light, or a producer and observer for tonight. But yeah, it's okay. Yes, it is. It was a server issue, but it has been fixed. It won't actually happen though until the next map. So we are going to have to we're gonna have to do our best to try and take a look at those little boxes on the top left and top right of your screen to follow up what's going on. But hey, we'll make do.
We'll get final blows, but what do we really need this for anyway? What's important is that they die. It's a team effort, y'all. And we win as a team, you lose as a team, you get kills as a team. And right now, if you're trying to track final blows at home, that's one in everybody's corner. Anytime a kill goes through, in my opinion, everyone gets to share in the spoils.
Yeah, that or you like, if you're not playing extremely well, it's like, hey, don't worry about it. Like, they don't see how many final blows I'm getting. It's like, it's fine.
Who even gets to know?
They don't need to know. It's just like me in my ranked games. Like, they don't need to see the scoreboard. It's just the end result is all that matters.
You don't have to, like, just don't press tab if you're ever streaming to your friends. They just don't need to. It's not important. Yeah, it's not important.
Just push it away. Like, all the issues are going to the side. Like that, no issues with the kill feed whatsoever.
You're only bad if they can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason why I cast. That's what I will say and not play. But yeah, it was a nice start here for Marquette. Montana State, I admit, they cooked something. I'm not sure on my thoughts on it quite yet. It is a very hodgepodge look. And like you said, we've only seen the Kiriko tonight out of the 5 heroes that they launched with. there's a soft reason for that. I think Reaper's in a very awkward spot in this meta. Widow's Widow. You can make her work, and especially on this sub map, it makes sense. Like, you can find some of the picks, so I'm not even like upset about that. The Ramacha is just odd. I don't know. He's not great in this meta, but he's not horrible. He's kind of just there. It's kind of the best way to explain it.
So we are going to go ahead and restart the game there as Blizzard servers have attacked once again. And we get a mulligan on that one. Yeah, but yeah, I really do agree with your point there. I feel like individually, anyone that on that comp is fine. Like, we've seen, Lifeweaver work in EGF before. Widow is obviously Widow, especially if you're going to pull them out on a map on Busan. That's the place to do it. Reapers, like, they're fine. They're a good counter pick.
They're okay.
Ramatra, kind of same thing. Like, it's fine. Like, it wouldn't be my first choice. If you want to go for an aggressive dive, or an aggressive brawl rather, I would probably just pull up the Junker Queen. But like, none of but it still doesn't all fit together very well. Like, you want to play the Kiriko to take aggressive angles, but you're playing a Ramatra and a Reaper, so you're not really taking the angles. And you want to play a Lifeweaver so that you can overextend and get back, but Ramatra and Reaper both have escape abilities of their own. It just,
it is different.
I don't really see where it fits at the moment.
Yeah, and we'll see what they decide to do. It'll actually be mecha based then for our first round here, after the mulligan with the kill feed issue in the lobby. So Montana say, hey, I don't think they're going to complain too much. They get to kind of erase that first fight ever happened, and they get to go into this sub map with a clean slate. So as we see the teams load on, I assume we're not going to see the Widow. Yeah, it will not be a Widow this time around. Marquette stay the same. The Bobcats do change it up a little bit.
Yeah, Marquette's here still running default. I mean, can't blame them for it. Montana, on the other hand, see, like, the Sneak 3, the Soldier on Mecha Base, I'm actually a big fan of. I think a really strong flank hit scan on Mecha Base is really, really good. The rest of it, though, again, I'm not really seeing where the Mercy comes into this one. That's usually, again,
just with Sneak, I guess.
I mean, really hard angle damage boost is what you're looking for there, but Soldier kind of takes care of themselves. Either way here, Marquette University running it right down. Zippy throwing out the left shift very early on, going to do a lot for it. Force Montana State to pull back, as well as forcing E1 to have to commit that fade in. Now Stomps looking to try and take their advantage, and as Axan steps forward, gonna get knocked out by the Junker Queen. Cactus doing a lot of damage. Now it's Zippy being targeted. Are they gonna fall? Yes, they are. Big E gets the final blow on that one. And so Montana State, with a little bit of a jigsaw comp, manages to find a fight win here.
You're talking Marquette's like, oh, they're running JQ now. Okay. What do we do? Like, it was kind of that slight hesitation, like, all right, how do we want to go at this? And now they at least have a better idea, and that wall is a decent start.
Yeah, still, though, can't track down Kaksai. This is just going to be a big, press S moment here, but Zippy doesn't have damage in the meantime. Takes down Sneak 3. Well, it takes down everybody. Let's be honest here. Everyone falls for Montana State. Axe-handed there, getting the last 2 blows. And a very quick response there by Marquette.
A very quick response, and Montana State, now you have to worry about the Bastion being able to set up in defensive position as Cactus Eye. They're just doing a little flank, trying to alleviate some pressure from up top, but they almost get punished for it.
Now, Sneak 3 trying the best that they can to do enough damage to save their tank. Lei as well helping out there, and Kaksai gonna survive that basically on full health, but not anything else. Big damage coming through there as a disconnect also hits, as that's basically the fight at that point. We're gonna go to a quick pause, make sure we can get that player back in. And once again, I really think Montana State's just having a huge issue on these engagements. The damage that Marquette's able to put out here is absolutely massive. And as a result, with no barrier, with no mitigation, Junker Queen kind of survives off of being aggressive and doing damage herself. With no ability to even do the damage, it's looking kind of spicy.
Yeah, it's looking a little rough, and it seems like No Mercy's internet has shown them no mercy, at least so far. I had to. I had it. The opportunity presented itself. But we'll have to see when we can get her back into the game. But it's a great start here, obviously, for Montana State. Like you said, they want the JQ to get up in their face or be aggressive, and they just weren't able to so far. The Maywalls especially have really denied any sort of aggression that they could have. So you wonder if there will be a swap at some point for any of them. But like for No Mercy especially, they're in an awkward spot. Because yes, you want to help your soldier play well, and obviously that damage boost can be great. They haven't really been able to do a whole lot, though. These fights are happening so fast and the angles aren't there to where that damage boost they're providing just doesn't work.
Something as well that I want to point out with this is not only are they having to run straight into the Bastion fire, they're having to do it without a BAP MO or a Lucio speed boost. And so the time that you're spending in the line of fire where you can get killed by Bastion is just so much longer. Come out of that tunnel, immediately get split off by this blizzard. Gonna find a lot of individual targets there. Basically every single person on Montana is isolated. No Mercy trying to do her best to survive as much as possible, not gonna find it. And it's just gonna be Ewan able to run out there and survive for a little bit longer. But the time ticks ever on here for Montana.
At least you're able to get the blizzard out from Axe Hand, but other than that, you're not able to get anything done, and now you have to go up against this choke where they have Lamp in a place where you can't even see it, so there's legitimately nothing you can do. You just have to wait it out.
Oh, here's the Kira ult. Capped off with the Reaper ult. That's huge. Those two ults work so well together. And Stomp's not able to find a good lift there, trying to mitigate all of that. And so the aggression finally works out in Montana's favor. They press the right Q buttons, and that gets them onto point. The only issue is, it looks like they also used a visor during that time. That's a little bit over.
Yeah, I think they used the visor with the Kitsune, worrying that, hey, maybe this Death Blossom isn't going to reap the benefits we were like, but now it will be a 4-3 player hit with that.
Queen ult really strong, but that beat just basically means that Cactus Eye was separated from the rest of their team. Now a 3v2 with the map on the line, or the round on the line at least.
Oh,
Sneak 3 gonna be gone. Oh, No Mercy. The movement was not there. And taking a short swim is the doctor from Switzerland. Marquette University takes round 1.
Marquette, clean as you like on that map after the first fight, made the adjustments that were necessary. And Montana State just didn't really have an answer. Because like you said, especially with no Lucio speed boost as well, you're counting on that commanding shout to get you in the position you're seeking. And it doesn't always work, because you almost want to use that as a disengage or a re-engage rather than your initial. Because yes, it gives you the speed, it also gives you that extra bit of health, so just didn't end up working out too well for the Bobcats, who will give in for the most part, swapping over to a very similar comp now with the Sigma. The Bastion will to make an appearance for them and not Marquette, as Zippy has moved over to the Torbridge, who makes another appearance tonight after kind of being an oddity in this meta over the last month.
Yeah, we're seeing the weirdness of the comms kind of swap over a little bit to Marquette's DPS and Montana State's support line. Gonna be interesting to see who can find the best build here. Sneak 3 just hiding in wait, hoping someone or Marquette's gonna step forward, but Marquette has roundly rejected that idea. Mickey, though, able to get a kill on Ewan. Finally, see Cactus Eye step up, and not a whole lot, none of them. That shift, basically all they need to get back to their team. And even though Marquette was anti, the MO is there to keep everyone happy and healthy. Now walled off, Cactus Eye trying to find an advantage on Stomps once again. Stomp still not having too much trouble. They're doing a really good job of just mitigating all of the damage right now.
Yeah, Stomps is just being content with holding the space. They know they have the heals there from Royal Ranger, and if need be, they have the lamp to use as well. So they want to sit back at point. They've had the point this entire time, so already over 20% towards their name. And Montana State are just now pushing past Drumroom.
Now Stomp's on point, trying to hold it once again, trying to get every little bit of tick they can. letting their DPS try to fight their way back. This window could be huge. Good viewpoint now. Axehand looking to shoot through it, but a wall from the Mei going to be enough to stop it, at least for now. Immo once again keeping everyone happy and healthy. Royal Ranger doing a great job keeping everybody up with these ability usage. Zippy on the way back now. This could be enough for Marquette to truly put this point away, but right as one DPS shows up, the other decides to leave. Hurt down on the ground looking for a little bit of a kill. Here's the swing out for Big E. Not going to be able to find a ton, but this lift might open up an opportunity. Cactus Eye in the back. Meanwhile, Stomp's also in the back, looking to trade backlines here. Zippy and Mickey fall for Marquette, and with laydown for Montana, it's going to be all up to Royal Ranger to keep everyone alive. Not going to be able to find it now. Mickey is alive again, but I don't think they can get back to the point in time, and Montana State captures the point after 75%.
What felt like, that was like a 2 or 3 minute elongated fight, just constantly back and forth. Nobody was really dying more than about 1 or 2 players on each side, so just a very elongated fight, which granted, Marquette won't complain about too much. They had the point during that entire fight, and now, in reality, looking at one fight territory.
Yeah, Marquette just needs to win this one. Ult out here for Sneak 3, looking to find something. Not gonna find anything. Only person split off is Zippy, and Torbjorn, not a great isolation target. Kiri ult out now for Lei. This next ult up, but Lei's gonna give their life for it. A beat to keep everyone alive through this tactical visor, as well as Cactus Eye stepping up here to absorb all of that fire. As I was Stomp stepping up to absorb all that fire, and Stomps is on a roll, actually. Taking down anyone and everyone from Montana State, as they just really need to kind of stuff the recontest here for Montana.
Yeah, just push on up, make sure they're uncomfortable at even just getting out of spawn, and stall for as much time as possible. Bobcats don't really have a lot to work with either. They may get a flex laid on, but that's if somebody can touch, to be honest.
Don't think they're going to be able to. 6 seconds left. Oh, Axehand mows everyone down. Can this Echo get there? They can, but that's just going to be kind of a little parting gift. You get the joy of touching the point, and then I get the joy of winning the map.
Yeah, Marquette, it's fine. It elongated the map by, 2 seconds? Marquette, the Golden Eagles, soaring high so far as a 1-0 start for them. And, you know, we said their name a lot. Stomps was just absolutely insane on the Sigma during the entirety of this series. You can see here even to make sure, hey, make sure you stay in front of the bullets no matter where they're coming from. And they're a Sigma player that doesn't mind getting in the face of the opposition. Usually Sigmas, yes, they want to keep their space, you know, that ideal 10 to 15 meters just to make sure their spheres hit, but Stomps does not care. They will go right in your face like, nah, I will make sure the job is done. And Marquette sitting pretty well right now at 1-0.
They're looking to get stomping. They want to They want to get kicking. They want to get moving. You know, take the fight right to them and keep it aggressive. And they're doing just that. I think every single time we've seen them pop up in kill feed a time has been when they've really pushed the W key, stepped up, been aggressive, been the face of this squad. And thus far, whenever they do that, they're leading this team to victory. They also just don't die. Ever. There's been so many times where they're caught on a wall by themselves, and no matter what Montana does, they just can't confirm the kill on this man. They're just too wily.
Yeah, they just keep on moving, keep on grooving, and that's all you can really ask for your Sigma to do. Is they have such high sustain as it is, and when you have Royal Ranger who is just pumping them anytime they need it, it has been an excellent job here from Marquette just to make sure, hey, keeping our front line up. But speaking of Royal Ranger, subbed out for map 2. So an interesting decision here from Marquette, but maybe showcasing that they might want to run something different on Putty. So maybe more of a dive-esque lineup here.
Yeah, we are going to see Hattie being the sub that's coming in. We've seen them a little bit before. They do bring a very different pace to the game than Royal Ranger does. I don't, off the top of my head, I can't fully remember what they play, but I know they don't play the Baptiste because that's what Royal Ranger plays, and Royal Ranger is insane at it. So I would expect to see something other than the Sigma comp with the Baptiste in the back line for Marquette here.
we could maybe see an Ana would probably be my best guess. Maybe an Alari as well.
Alari,
Especially on this map. On the defense, Alari can be insane just because you can put her healing pylon legitimately anywhere.
So many corners.
On the backside of that building. And the offense can't see it until they fully commit to point. It is actually insane how easy it can be to get value out of Alari on first phase. So I could assume, yeah, it's going to be maybe an Ana or an Alari popping up from Hattie, and we'll see here in just a moment as they do start on the defense to begin this map.
Getting ready for this game. We saw a little bit of dive here on the defense last time. Did not go the way of UTA. Instead, they ended up switching to the poke on the last part and did pretty well on it. Here, Hattie is in fact playing the Ana Axe Hand. We've seen them pull out the Junkrat a couple times throughout the season, pulling it out once again right here. Not the most wild comp from Marquette here, especially on defense. Meanwhile, Montana is playing a different video game. They've got the Flanker and the Sombra completely reworked pretty recently. Meanwhile, bringing out the Pharah Mercy. That's something we haven't seen in quite some time. And then the Diva and the Moira. I like the I feel like this comp works a lot better together than the previous comps that Montana State's been picking up. This is a very good flank, no backline, self-sufficient comp that I'm really loving for them. And I feel like it might do pretty well against this Marquette squad that only has one person who can really try to force out this Pharah.
Yeah, Zippy will have a lot of pressure on them to make sure they can consistently put pressure on the Sneak and No Mercy. As you can see, Big E, they're just creeping around, making sure already Hattie is uncomfortable. But Axe Hand is the one to take out Sneak.
You won.
What?
Yeah. All right. I mean, hey, Sneak plays aggressive, gets punished for it. Meanwhile, Yuan not able to find any progress in the backline there. Hattie able to just jump around them. Now, Cactus Eye trying to do enough to force Axe Hand out. Not gonna happen too much. They're having to get Mercy heals, actually. Yuan finally does track down Hattie. Now in the back, looking for a little bit of extra credit on Axe Hand. Gonna find a whole lot eventually. Yuan not gonna get forced out, just dies, actually. Can't find the escape, and this evens it right back up. Stomps really needs to find a kill here. They are able to attack the Moira or Mercy, especially at the height they have to play on this point. It's not going to be super easy. And now trying to track down the Moira Sombra as well. The shield dance coming through. It's them against the world, and it's gonna be the world who wins. They had Hattie pumping in support from the back end, but they're gonna have to give this point, at least for the moment. One tick coming through, looking for the next one. Lots of damage, but Zippy finds the kill, and the DMAC coming right after it. Gonna force the Remac ult. Can they get the kill on the Baby Diva? Nope. Baby Diva safe in their own little area, but in the meantime, Zippy has been putting out the damage with no Diva DM to keep everyone alive. Marquette University holds on after 2 minutes.
They do give up 2 ticks in the process, but we talked about Stomps not being able to die earlier. Dances are on the signal not only to avoid the damage, but to avoid the hacks and the virus that Big E was trying to send out. A huge play there from Stomps, who just continues to not be able to die during this series. And now we're halfway through. The time bank currently available to Montana State. Now you can see, well, that's a way to deny a Sombra hack.
Elon thought they were being fancy. Turns out a little bit too fancy. Sneak 3 is going to find the DPS pick, and Cactus Eye is going to get staggered. And DPS pick gets nullified. Mickey's right there, keeping everybody looking good.
As Marquette now can just settle in. This is a similar position we saw Delaware in earlier. And Zippy finding players from spawn at this point with that damage boost. Lay gets sent right back to spawn. It'll take her a little bit more time. And No Mercy, you think they might use the Valk here? Maybe just to keep up Ewan after the EMP, potentially?
I mean, you gotta, Sneak 3 down. You either gotta push buttons or call it here with 1 minute left on the clock. And looks like they're doing a little bit of both. Yeah. I mean, yeah, hard disengage there to get the Mercy res, and then they're right back at it. Still not really pushing buttons, though, on their engage of their final fight. There's the EMP. Took a moment to get there. Still not going to be able to find a kill, though. Lay's going to fall off of Zippy's shot. And the damage just is not there for Montana State University. Marquette looking very clean into this one. Good ult by Mickey, keeping everyone alive through that.
Yeah, like you said, Mickey, during the entirety of that the EMP that was trying to push up, they were in Valk. They were able to heal the entire team practically, except Zippy, who I think was hiding in a corner because they were at 20 health. But they were just making sure, hey, everybody stays alive. So she is the big winner and the big MVP of that fight for Marquette, who still have 2 ultimates and potentially a Riptire to work with in the final fight of this normal time.
Only ult that can be brought to the fight right now for Montana is Lei, and Lei's dead. So it's going to be a dry fight here for Montana. Not the case for Marquette University. Putting a ton of ults into it. Still have the tire. Gonna be a victory cheer for Marquette, as that tire just goes on a little trip. And Marquette has set themselves up for an aggressive attack push here.
Yeah, very simple win condition for Marquette. You get about 81% and you're up 2-0 going into Saravasa, as Montana State just didn't really have an answer after that initial attack where they looked so good. Honestly, they had a great opening. Ewan was doing a great job setting up those hacks early on. That's how they got Hattie so early. But they were never able to replicate it. Marquette from that point on was so much quicker on the peel. You saw it late on in that final fight. Hattie got dove again with the virus set. You could see, I believe it was Cactus Eye as well, going up there to try and help kill Hattie. But instead, Mickey goes up, uses the Valk, and she's able to keep her support alive during the entirety of that fight. So Marquette doing a great job of adapting during the middle of the game. And on Montana State, they're going to change it up a little bit. You got the double hit scan with the Cassidy and the Ash, and the Weaver will make an appearance yet again.
I mean, it feels like Montana has all of these great characters, but they don't know how to mesh them together super well. This is another time where, like, I would love to see like a Sigma and like a Baptiste here. And like this would be a time when I automatically pull out the Mercy. You know, how about these 2 hit scans? But we're seeing the Life Weaver instead. Cactus Eye already getting slammed by damage. Manages to stay alive for at least a little bit longer. That Spear, a good job of keeping the pressure off of them. Axe Hand forced to reposition now, looking for this high ground. Getting damage from above, just trying to fish for something right now, but no one is biting. Lei finally falling though. Zippy's got the back behind his Tracer. His sneak 3 brings a little bit of life back into this team, but not for long, as Hattie puts on the DPS hat and mows them down. Zippy as well finds the squishy now, and Cactus Eye has to make some insane plays. Looking on the backline for Hattie, not gonna find it. Zippy takes down. Mickey actually gets credit for the final blow. You can see Zippy here zipping into the backline, trying to stuff out this push from happening. He's gonna find Big E, and I don't know that anyone has a push. Maybe off the top rope, this Cassidy, can he get there in time? No! That is it, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. Marquette up 2-0 now.
2-0 Marquette after a very decisive win here in Brazil. And a lot of it, again, Zippy, we've talked about before, goes insane, and they got taken out early in the first fight. They weren't able to help with the Pharah during the beginning of this engage, but ever since then, was able to get the job done. Nice little coach gun into a aim shot as well. And Marquette, they're firing on all cylinders. They're picking up where they left off. And Marquette were a team even last year who got better as the season went on, and especially late on, had some pretty good results. I think it may just be the same thing this season. They're a little bit slow out of the gate. Granted, their schedule did not do them any favors whatsoever. And now tonight might be a way to show, like, hey, no, we're getting there. We were not exactly where we want to be right now, but we are making progress. And so far, you know, they've looked great on this comp. And I think the fact that Sigma's meta is the best thing that could happen to this team, because Stomps is electric.
Yeah, they've made a lot of adjustments throughout the season, and it's really coming together tonight, though. With that, though, we're going to allow Montana State to make some adjustments, see if they can find a way to get back in this one, prepare that reverse sweep. We're going to go to a short break, but we'll be back in just a moment. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to what is either the finale or the start of a new chapter in this match. The M&Ms, the bag has been ripped open. Halloween has taken its toll, and we're almost to the end of the pouch. It's going to be very exciting.
Yes, it will be very interesting to see how this one ends up, as Marquette have been in the driving seat so far, but Montana State are not done quite yet. And going over to Servasa, this admittedly does kind of lean into more what they've liked to play. You know, they like getting in your face. They've shown the JQ already tonight. So I think out of the two Flashpoint maps they could have gotten, I think this is the better of the two. But it can obviously still be a very rough task, as Marquette, they have shown no signs of slowing down. The Sigma gameplay has been immaculate, and they're showing why this kind of comp is meta right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really, really cohesive unit. Being able to walk up front with a tank as survivable as a Sigma is so huge, because it means your DPS don't have to worry about literally anything other than where they're putting their cursor. I mean, when you have a Sigma in front of you and you're playing Bastion, that's just aim laps at that point. I mean, you really barely even have to push any other key other than W, because it is a wide open field, and Marquette is doing a great job at setting up their DPS right now. They are looking extremely cohesive with it.
Yeah, the cohesion on Marquette is ridiculous, and they've been playing with each other now for a little bit, especially that core, and you can tell, like, the communication's been there, especially the peel we talked about a little bit last map was there, especially when, you know, we saw a lot of their backline get dove. It's like, hey, no, we're going to make sure, hey, everybody get back there. Like, make sure they live, or at least if they don't, we're taking somebody out in the process. So the Golden Eagles definitely playing at a high level. And, you know, you and I talked about it during the break a little bit. The Bobcats, it's not like they're doing a lot of things wrong. It just doesn't seem like the pieces of the puzzle on the counter right now are not all from the same puzzle. Yeah. And it seems like they're just trying to do too many variations of looks instead of just kind of settling in on one thing.
I mean, Montana State, they're bringing a good game to the table. They're just all playing different games.
Yeah,
is really what it. This is a comp from Montana State. I actually really like this, especially on Servasa. We're playing in the close quarters. We're playing really tight. We're playing entirely stacked on top of each other. This is a really good area denial, sustainable comp. Worried about just like, we're going to sit on the point and we're going to do not. And it sets itself up really well for that. Meanwhile, Marquette, they're the ones pulling out a little bit of an interesting game at the moment. Hattie and Roy Rangelin both playing the main healer, so really focused on just the numbers and the heals and damage more than necessarily the utility that brings to the table. And Reach for No Help, and Zippy going to be looking to counter on the flanks as well as battle out this blocky, you know, hammer of a Reinkarp here. You need to put a ton of damage forward in order to break out the shield. Meanwhile, Zippy can hopefully take attention off of this backline. You can see him working for it right now. They've got Lay down a little bit low. Going to turns on to No Mercy. Lay at 1 health. Can they clean up? That's your job. That's your job. Zippy, go find him. Instead, trying to chase down Ewan here. Gonna take him out. Big E now looking to chase down Lay. At 40 health, gonna have to invest the recall there. So 1 down. Montana State does not have the point. That was the whole thing this comp needed in order to be effective. Not able to find it here. And while Zippy goes down, Kaxai is getting traded out for it, and I'm going to take that trade every day of the week.
Yeah, it just seems like Montana State, they had the general idea to go in, but I think Kaxai just got a little separated. I don't think they realized they lost line of sight with No Mercy and Lay, so the heals just weren't there anymore for the Rhine, and eventually things fell apart. And it is nice to see Reach for No Help enter in the match. Haven't got to see them in the first 2 maps, but, you know, known for their Sods last season, and now finally to bring it back out.
Reach for No Help, looking for some big damage here. Brown got charged up, and oh no, you straight in their line of sight for a moment too long there, friend. Sneak 3 is down, but even back out with Zippy, and right as I say that, Lay following him very quick. Reach for No Help now jumping into the back line. Yeah, no, that hammer is swinging. It's a home run there. While that pin hits, that's a great use of immortality to keep everyone alive and happy. And point number 1 heads to Marquette.
Yeah, 100-0, and they will gain a clear advantage heading over to our second flashpoint of the map. You can see already the rotation is on. Zippy will get there first. Montana State, it'll take them just a tiny bit more time, though. They're actually going to try and cut off the rotation for Marquette instead of going straight to point. It might actually work.
I like that play a lot. I mean, yeah, take the aggression to him, change the pace, find the fight right now. Best part is, if Zippy goes for point, that turns into a 4v5, at least for a little while. If they can push this aggressiveness, it might just find their way. Sig ult out here, gonna end up finding Lei, turning this right back into a 4v4. Palace now is going to be opened up, unlocked now. Can anyone find it? Not looking super likely. It's just going to be Zippy all day long as Zippy asserts dominance on the tracer roll. Shooting right back in. Zippy looking for a little bit more. They've got the pulse bomb looking on the back line. Oh, you can see them. They're lining it up in their head, looking to catch him out of spawn. The Zenyatta. Oh no! That is the worst time to be a monk.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. You could tell as soon as they got on spawn too, spawn room is right there. And Zippy was like, don't mind if I do drop this here, take out both supports. And now already halfway through second phase, we haven't even got to look at Palace. That is how far up these fights have been, and at least Marquette had the awareness like, hey, why not play forward? You know, Montana State has yet to really challenge us too much in some of these equal fights. Might as well take advantage.
Nano is out, but Riptire might find something, reach for no help, tries to play a little bit of sneaky game, tries to be solid, Snake there hiding in the boxes, not gonna find their way. Packside there has the shatter, they got him past shield, looking for an opportunity. Row Ranger though on high ground, being a menace, keeping that out. Now finally on low ground, the burn has to come through here on Cactus Eye. The shatter is gonna be huge. Still not pulling the trigger, waiting for the opportunity. Stomps up in the air, flies away from what could have been a potential shatter. Gonna absolutely find big damage on that one as Zippy takes down a DPS, trying to open this up a little bit more. But no Mercy, 1 health. Yep, gonna get taken out by Reach for no help. And end of this fight here, they flipped the point, but they don't have a ton in the back pocket. Pulse bomb going out. Montana State looking for anything here, and I think they might die and lose this point without ever popping the shatter.
Yeah, maybe something they're going to want back is it will be second flashpoint captured here by the Golden Eagles, 1 away from closing out the map. Is actually a slight swap here for Montana State. It'll be now Lei on over to the Kiri. No Mercy will take over to the Zen role that Lei was on. So less heals now for the Bobcats. Instead, wanting to run a little bit more damage and focus fire, especially with the Echo now in play.
Now they're still holding on to this Ryan though for the ult. Ryan needs a lot of healing, and I don't know that Kiri Zen's gonna be enough. They've got to take this fight quick. There can be no button press other than the W button, and they can no longer push the W button without a DPS here. When this fight's even gotten started, it's gonna be very brutal. All right, targeting on to Stomp's one right now with the Discord. There's the shatter out. Can they find the kill? No, it's No Mercy who dies. Zippy came into the backline during a shatter to find the kill. What a turnaround here for Marquette. Look at how the turns have tabled.
It was a great nano there from Hattie and a lamp as well from Royal Ranger that keeps Stomp alive during that engagement. So the shatter just doesn't end up earning anything from Montana State. And like you said, Zippy has been an absolute nuisance in the backline. They'll be looking for another pulse here. They don't even see. Oh, they have been seen now. That might make things interesting.
Oh, they recalled into the team of Montana State. Yeah, no, not finding the way out of that one. Montana State here with their huge advantages. They're onto the Ramatra now. Good change to go with their support team. Suzu, already used. That just got nerfed as well. So it's going to be a little bit longer before they can get back to it. Don't have to worry about recharge, though. Lei's gone, back to spawn. So going to get free cooldowns with that one. And in what might be the final fight, Marquette University never looks anything but confident, able to shut this down. And now looking for this stuff. Montana State on the literal last foot. Can anyone even get close? Not looking likely. And just like that, Marquette has found their first win on the season.
Big congrats to Marquette. They're on the board as Marquette 3-0 sweep, may I add. to get their first win of the season. Montana State, they will drop to 0-5 and long season ahead for them, but I'm confident they are going to be able to make it work because they have the individual skill. It's just, I think putting it all together, I think is still something that's maybe in the process here for Montana State. They've shown that they're not super comfortable on the Sigma comp, and I think it may just be a meta shift that may eventually kind of turn them in the way of better fortune. But Marquette, what can you say? Like, they're taking full advantage of, hey, Sojourn is now fully back in meta. Reach for No Help is not going to complain, and Zippy tonight was out of their mind. So congrats to Marquette. Nice way to approach the halfway point of this fall split.
Yeah, absolutely insane play, especially getting to see Reach for No Help come in at the end there, playing an amazing Sojourn. With that, though, we are going to take a short break, but this time it's for an interview, so don't go anywhere. We're going to talk to the winning team in just a moment. Everybody, and welcome back to the post-game interview for the M&M. We are joined by the one and only Royal Ranger. How are you feeling after your first win on the season?
Pretty good. Yeah, we were excited today. Looking forward to going into the game, and then it always feels good to get a win on the board.
I mean, you looked very clean throughout this entire game. I do want to ask, though, with that new patch lingering in your mind, were you looking to change anything for this game, or were you just like, we know what we're scrimming, we know we're good on it, let's just send it through?
Yeah, there is a little bit of a change with how often we were thinking about playing double flex, especially with Alari. But overall, I mean, we were comfortable with what we were playing and didn't think that the changes really affected our style.
Yeah, we could tell we're still the Marquette way kind of tonight, time and time again. Do you think the flexibility you guys have is your best strength? We saw Reach for No Help kind of get subbed in during that final map. We saw, as you said, the double flex support in that final map as well. Do you think that's something you guys are going to try and use more as we head into the rest of the season?
Yeah, we definitely have maps that we know different people are stronger on. It's great this year having a larger roster than we did last year with Mickey and Hattie that we've brought on this year. So having that flexibility and being able to swap reach from tank and DPS on different maps, it's great to have that flexibility.
So now you got this game out of the way. Obviously, you and Montana State, we saw it in chat afterwards. A lot of love towards each other. How are you guys want to take this result and now towards the rest of the season after you admittedly had a pretty rough schedule to begin the fall season?
Yeah, we looked at that and we were thinking, boy, the first few weeks are going to be tough. But we never give up, and we're excited to go into the second half of this split, and hopefully we can get more wins on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, you look like you've gotten better every single game, time and time again. Is there anything new, interesting we should expect for next week? Has there been big changes in how you'll organize things? Because y'all seriously look like a different team now than when you started this season.
Yeah, not so much in what we're planning on doing, but I think the team itself, again, the new blood is a great help, and we've been playing with each other for over a year now. So just the synchronicity that comes with being able to do that and play with each other constantly, I think that's one of the main reasons we've been, again, like you said, looking better this year. Absolutely.
Well, is there anyone you want to shout out?
The whole team, honestly. Shout out the whole team. Zippy coming in, clutch at quite a few fights, and then especially Mickey and Hattie, the new blood. It's great to have Mickey's a freshman, so it's great to have someone that we can look forward to down the line. and then Hattie, who played on a different one of our competitive teams. So great to have this guy with us.
Well, thank you for your time, and congratulations again on the win.
Thank you so much.
With that, though, we have ate the last of the M&Ms. We ate all the blue and yellow ones. There's nothing left in there, and it's just down to this. I mean, again, I really do think Marquette is just looking better week after week after week. And with the setup they have for the second half of the schedule, I think we should see more and more success for them.
Yeah, I do think this is just the beginning we see of Marquette. My Wisconsin heart is very warm right now seeing them finally get on the board, but I do think this is just the beginning for Marquette. I do think we are going to see a different shade of them towards the later end of the season because, like he said, this team is very versatile and they have a very deep roster to where they can show a lot of looks, and you have to be prepared for so many different looks.
Yeah, with that, though, we are going to go to a short break before coming back for our last game. Last game of the night is going to be at 10:30. It's the classic late night game, Hawaii versus Auburn. We'll be back soon. Don't go anywhere. You won't want to miss it. It'll be very fun. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the late night game, the chill game, the good vibes game. As we're going out with Hawaii and Auburn. Rainbow Warriors bringing us home every night. This night looks to be a good one. You feeling excited?
I'm excited. It's actually the first time I've had the honor to cast Hawaii this season. I know you on the mainstream you've seen him quite a bit, so you know relatively what Hawaii is going to be bringing on. And Auburn, you know, new to the EGF this season, and so far they've actually been getting some pretty solid results. They beat William and Mary 3-1 just a few weeks back, so definitely a team that could really bring it to Hawaii.
Yeah, if we want to go take a look at our schedule for tonight, what led up to now, we've seen 3-0, 3-0. You know, if we're going on the pattern, when 3-0 on the right, 3-0 on the left, it would dictate we're going to have a 3-0 on the right again. But previous history between Auburn and Hawaii would suggest otherwise. Hawaii, as of very, very recently, played William and Mary, did not go their way, a 3-1 loss on their end. Meanwhile, when Auburn played William and Mary the week before, they 3-0'd them in a pretty convincing fashion. So we've got a pattern of the night versus a little bit of pattern of previous results going on here.
Yeah, and time will tell, I guess, on this series what we eventually get, because on paper initially Auburn should be the favorites in this match. They were able to beat, like we said, they beat William and Mary in the past. That was back in week 3 at 3-0. I stand corrected on that. William and Mary in this stream last week beat Hawaii 3-1. So, you know, it's the old thing, like, if A is greater than B is greater than C, is A going to be greater than C tonight? And we'll see if that's actually the case.
Yeah, looking at these lineups right now, Map Dealer, Akamai Save, River God, Banana Olympia there for the Rainbow Warriors. And this is a team that has looked very, very good. This is a very macro-focused team, a very team comp focused team. If you've seen Hawaii in any other game, you know, they've got the good coaching, they've got the good macro, they've got the setup. Hawaii Overwatch follows that trend very, very well. Auburn University, on the other hand, plays Auburn University style. They have fun, they play what they think is going to work, and they haven't really let anything slow them down so far this year.
Yeah, they've shown a lot of different looks, and, you know, I was able to catch a little bit of their match against UTA last week, and They honestly shocked me with kind of some of the looks they wanted to run. They looked extremely good on the Sigma comps. So I want to see maybe more of that tonight, especially against Hawaii, who they love to bring a little bit of a chaotic look to it. You said Auburn kind of goes with the flow. They will willingly make changes very often. Hawaii is a team who just loves the chaos, loves the carnage, and I could definitely see it being more of a chess match tonight, and with a lot of swaps between both sides.
Yeah, should be very, very fun. Maps lineup for tonight: Busan, Parisio, and Saravasa has been all we've seen thus far. Waiting on our first escorter push of the night. Very good chance that we see it here, actually. Busan, I think, is a great map to start on because it just has so many different things going on, so many different options, so many different play styles. I mean, every single map on Busan invites a completely different way of playing the game.
Yeah, because you have Mecha Base, which is it's very reminiscent of Lijiang Control Center, Kings Row to an extent, where it's very close corridors. Then you have Town, which feels a lot like the Lijiang Night Market. Funny enough, and then you have Sanctuary, which it's kind of hit or miss depending on what you can really get on that map. You can run a lot of things. Poke, especially over the last little bit, has kind of sprouted as the main comp you can run, but when you think about it that way, you can run Poke, you can run Dive, or you can run Rush, depending on what sub round you're starting on. So we'll eventually see what we start on in Busan, but it may give us an early look of what comps these teams are actually willing to go to.
Yeah, I think Hawaii traditionally follows the composition, follows the meta in most of the games they play. I would like to see them unironically kind of buck that trend tonight. If there's ever a time to try something new, invent a new playstyle, really kind of change the pace on any scouting an opponent's done on you, it's right after a patch. Like that's really the time where you want to see new things coming down the chain because no one knows really what's going to be, the new state of affairs. We've said this patch is a little bit of a smaller one, but we've said that about patches before where they've totally shifted the meta just off of a second change here, a 10% buff there, and this could very well be the case as well on this patch. Starting off here, we're going to see again pretty well. I was about to say pretty default comps from either side, but both teams with a pretty interesting support line. Auburn also bringing a tracer to the table, as I was going to tell you out on the sim. Obese Chicken plays the Moira, and they play flank damage Moira. I don't know that I've ever seen them press left click on that character. Meanwhile, Hawaii coming out with a relatively standard comp. I imagine it's Widows either just for downtown or going to get switched out pretty quick, and then the stability in that back line looking to just keep everyone alive and strong. Baptiste Alari is not exactly a new concept in any sort of meta, any sort of anything. Widow up here on this high point looking for kills. Is that going to be a first fight Menace, or if they play well enough, going to see them throughout the rest of this match. Not being able to find anything here. Good setup from Hawaii, positioning very, very strongly around these lines of fire, and as a result, the mechanics eventually coming through for them, able to find their shots in. Akamai falling soon after. Lays Owls, I'm so sorry. So no DPS right now. River God falling soon after. Finally, kill coming through on the Rainbow Warriors side, but not before Negami is just going to end any chance that this one goes Hawaii's way.
Yeah, they will just confirm that, hey, no, this is our point. Gonna have to deal with it for now. Is with this being a Kiriko Zen look for Namugi and Obese Chicken, it's not something you traditionally see because it is a lot. It's barely anything for heals, but they've been able to make it work so far with the focus fire being at such a high level.
Kobe now doing the best they can to keep Akamai off of their team. Not going to do a good enough job. Brad gets caught out on the flank there. But now Olympia now has the chance to step up as Hawaii striking back very strongly. River God actually being the standout DPS this time as Math Dealer continues the push. And Hawaii has struck back very quickly here.
They've done a great job just to strike back early, and especially once they're able to get the Brad out of the equation, just starting to move on in and take advantage of the heal difference being in their favor. The Brad now over on the Widow, and I don't know if Hawaii know it quite yet, even though you can see Liz, they're looking for it.
find the entry here. Huge window. If he can beat up the Kyriel, that'll be massive. Immo already out, not gonna matter. Great positioning by Manolo Pier here to work through the window. That is a trade I'll take all day, but not when everyone else is falling too. Kobe into the back line, hits the 3, and comes down with the fight win.
That is just a great play there from Kobe. And at least Forever God, they're able to get out, but the percentage advantage will now go back in favor of the Tigers. You wonder if there will be a swap here in the sport line for Auburn soon, as you know they have the Transcendence, but Namugi did have to use the Kitsune Rush that last fight, and the Transcendence is really all they have to work with for now.
Forever God on the flank trying to fight out Brad, gonna find that kill. In the meantime though, Akamai has fallen. Riptide as well, however, down at this point. So Math Dealer looking to see if they can't get on that Zenyatta, going to eventually find it. Great job to sneak past Kobe there. Now it's just Kobe trying to contest this point as much as possible, not gonna be able to contest it very long. And the supports for University of Hawaii right now are insanely powerful.
They're making the difference. Ooh, nice little shot. They're onto the Brad. That'll extend the amount of time it'll take Auburn to really initiate into this fight. But like I said, the supports for Hawaii are just doing more right now. Yes, it's an interesting look here to have the Zen and the Kiriko, but it's just not working so far for Auburn. But seeing that they didn't swap after that last fight where they used the Transcendence, I got a feeling they're going to try and make it work.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't love it after the second Zen got caught in the nerfs in the first place. My boy is getting hit in the crossfire. But I do love anytime we get to see Terminator out on the field. Akamai there taking a lot of damage. Lael's in the middle looking for anything. Oh, Riptide gets shut down. Had the overclock ready to go. Everyone in view finds nothing for it. Now Math Dealer maybe gets caught out of position here. Nope, forces Kobe into a left shift of their own, and so going to be able to survive that, not taking damage. Math Dealer as well, taking down the Brad once again. Both Widows off the field now. Sigma Suck into the air, finds the tank. Not really going to find much else. The Lamb keeping the Rainbow Warriors alive, but now with the Kyrie ult, this might be huge for Auburn. This is a must-win fight. 2 down, make that 3 down. Then Olympia not going to have a play in their back pocket, and so the overtime fight goes to Auburn.
Able just to squeak it back, but they had to use everything 4 ults during that fight. All they will have is maybe a Transcendence here from Obese Chicken, and you look at what Hawaii's got cooking up. They will have a Flux here in a moment, and if they can build up that Captive Sun and use it after the Flux, they very well may have a nice win condition.
Blaze Allows here looking for a shot. Not going to be finding a ton right now. It's Riptide on point, beaming down Math Dealer. But both tanks are low, and with the Suck in the back, only going to catch the Zen, actually. Still gets the kill off the back of it, though. River God once again putting out damage. Doesn't even need the Captive Sun to do it, but they will use it anyways. Finds Negami, and Hawaii off to a quick start here against Auburn. This is completely opposite to what we expected.
Yeah, we thought Auburn was going to be the favorites. Hawaii, though, able to take round 1. It was definitely an interesting look. I think Obese Chicken, they were at 99% on that Transcendence, so a little rough. I can't lie for the luck for Auburn. Just begging, like, please lay in one more shot. Not able to get it up in time, and that honestly was the key difference maker in that fight. Because if they have the Transcendence, they're able to stay alive themselves, and everybody who is stuck in that back corner would have as well. And now Hawaii, they will continue with this double head scan look. We're actually going to try and figure out the audio issue, I think, here just for a moment. I'm not sure if it's for you guys as well, but audio is about like a second delayed. So yeah, it is. We just got confirmation it is for stream as well. So we're going to try and figure that out. Nope.
No. Still by the
Okay, we'll figure it out after the map. We're gonna have to deal with it for now.
Akamai here trying to put some fire forward, but for the Brad is already on the flank doing damage. Obese Chicken still on this Zenyatta. I mean, we've said Auburn marches at their own pace, and they are definitely marching at their own pace right now. Riptide doing some good damage on the end there, opens up River God. Obi's though gonna be the one who finishes the play off. Riptide doing insane damage on this edge. Someone has to cover that. It's gotta be Math Dealer. Math Dealer has to worry about Kobe on point, putting out damage. Finally, Riptide taking a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. Kobe and Math Dealer. Everyone, as always, Kobe and Math Dealer fight going Kobe's way as Math Dealer is finally knocked down from the melee. And with that, we're going to go to a short little pause here, trying to work on that audio issue. I'm still not sure how I
too.
Oh,
so I think
believe so, yeah.
Yeah, Banana Lumpia. We saw them walking into a wall. Not recommended. When you're getting shot at, just not recommended.
Generally, you don't just want to hit the straight line into a wall. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a really high level technique, I know, to not walk into a wall at full speed.
You cannot matrix the wall in Overwatch. I'm sorry to tell you, everybody, especially Banana Lumpia. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work like that, sadly.
I'm gonna let you all in on the secret high level GM technique, though. It's called changing directions. Occasionally.
Magical. That's why I'm losing my ranked games.
You got to hit the A button. And
I gotta hit it sometimes.
Button,
Yeah, I can't just walk around and hitting W and S and just the mouse. Like you gotta use the A and D sometimes. But we're gonna wait and see how long it takes for Banana Lumpia to get back in. It also gives time to figure out the audio bug. It's weird because we haven't had it all night, so I'm not sure if it was the break that broke the audio system, but we're gonna figure that out as well during the pause. But I do think so far Auburn's looking better this round. It's hard to say so far because obviously there was some lag that impacted Hawaii, but again, like you said, they're playing Auburn style. Like that is inadmissible right now.
I'm amazed actually. We have seen not the Moira from Moby's Chicken. Like normally we see, if anything, an overcommitment to the Moira. This time we're seeing possibly an overcommitment to the Zen. I will say, Obese Chicken, they choose a game plan. That's the game
they're
plan.
On it.
Yes, there's no altering the course of this path. They have fired the missile. It's locked onto its target. Is it gonna hit? Is it gonna not? Who's to say? It's go. There's no reeling it back in.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you just send it. And if it hits, great. If not, you're ready to lose round 1 of Battleship. You know what I mean? Like it's a gamble here for the Tigers, admittedly, but like you said, they're a team that they will just do what they think is best. It may not be what, from the outside perspective they think is going to work. But if Auburn thinks it's going to work, they're going to run it. Like, no questions asked. They're going to be confident in what they do. So I'm curious to see if they will continue that, whether it be past this map or throughout the rest of the series. But they might try and continue running that from time to time. Hawaii, not much of a shock in what they're running. They're running meta to a decent degree. Akamai was already playing the Soj last year before she was really meta, so seeing them on the Soj it's not a shock by any stretch.
Yeah, with that, though, we are going to go to a short break as Banana now has to restart the entire PC. So we'll be back in just a moment once we deal with these technical issues. And just like that, we're right back in it. Banana has returned to the game. They're going to be down their ult, sadly, but didn't have too much charge on it after just one fight. Anyway, so no worries there. We do get to see Auburn set up on the point with this comp. It doesn't look like a very set up comp anyways. I don't imagine we'll see a very different playstyle. The only person on their team with not insane mobility is Obese Chicken and a tank. So shouldn't be too different playstyle whether they're playing in or out. Sure enough, Kobe just looking to hold this area. Oh, Agamai missed heals there on the target, gets burst down, and the Brad also takes down River God. The backline for Hawaii has disappeared in an instant. It's still collapsing.
Yeah, they're continuing just to press the pace, and there you go, Math Dealer and Liz both taken out again. So Hawaii now in a very rough spot. And it seems like also Banana Olympia, who I believe had to restart their PC, somehow fixed the audio issue. So is he playing at your house, Light? I know he's obviously not. But hey, if it fixes the issue, I don't think any of us are going to complain. Maybe, okay, that's okay. Well, respect, I guess.
I'm saying that he did it. Thank you, Banana.
Yep.
We love you.
Thank you, Banana.
As we get set up here, though, Akiri ult might be the difference maker. Oh, don't know that they're even gonna need both those ults as the Brad has charged into the backline and just eviscerated everybody. No chance there for the Rainbow Warriors. And what a change of pace on this round from the first one.
Yeah, Auburn are doing a great job of just limiting where Hawaii can even take an angle on them. It keeps Beast Chicken and Namugi in way safer spots. And they've been able to control the fights from there. And like I said, I don't know if somebody will be able to touch here. As you can see, the Sigma is just trying to climb over.
I mean, he did get there. He got a toe on the point, but not before Negami reminds us that Kiriko is a DPS. They're just in sheep's clothing and apt. Oh god, 4K. Oh, they don't give him the ace? Come on, Obese Chicken. That's just rude. Give him the 5K.
Just a little rude. It's like, oh, come on. Give Namugi the 5K. Is it that hard? But no, it's a nice clean 100-0 for Auburn. And now this is the Auburn we were more used to seeing and kind of what we expected going into this. So not a giant shock that we were starting to actually see, even though, like you said, the Moira still has yet to make a true appearance here for the Tigers. And instead, it'll be the Baptiste as we get ready to go into Mecha Base. And it's Hawaii actually bringing out the Zen.
I actually almost believe that's a fake Baptiste. Like, I don't know that Obese Chicken can play meta. They've never done it before. They're staying on it now. All right, gamer, let's go. Auburn University just about playing default for what may be the first time ever. Only thing that's a little bit different is Kiriko instead of like a Lucio. The Brad showing in, that's going to be a huge wall. Can it knock out Math Dealer this early? Oh, ammo very early here. Not going to be seeing that one for a minute. With River God on Zen, Hawaii is relying on damage. River God now walled off by the Brad, so everyone on Auburn ready to just push the W key. Brad looking to see if a Zen's going to come around the other side. They're not, but Math Dealer gonna get sent back to spawn during this time. I don't think Lizales is gonna have a shot here. Yeah, no, Negami once again hitting heads with those kunai.
Yeah, the extra kunai damage is just critical, and Auburn take advantage. And you wonder if Hawaii, yes, River God has shown the Zen multiple times before. You would have like, oh, why not? We're gonna throw it in. If they're gonna run it, we can run it. And all of a sudden, the tables have turned, and all of a sudden it's Auburn the one now running the Zen.
Math Dealer needs to find a good entry here, but with Suck already used, don't know how much of an entry they're going to be able to find. Wall is back up, not going to last for long. That window shooting through everything. And Lizales gets separated once again on that hard angle, taken out by Negami. Seems to be their nemesis at the moment. And this timer is just ticking up. That ult wasn't even necessary, y'all. This is just brutal.
Yeah, this is brutal if you're a fan of Hawaii, because they're just getting pushed into spawn, and there's not much they can really do about it. Auburn are just playing insanely well. They do at least have some resources now to try and fight with, but they're going to try and catch somebody on their low ground, but actually going to give it up as Window's used.
Yeah, Window is out now, and getting a little bit more progress now. Negami is down. Lizzo's finally manages to win that fight. We're going to get taken out as a result from it. Can this trade find any value? Yes, it can. Brad down. Suck out now, but no one can act on it. Kobe didn't have the rock, and so Math Dealer ends up finding the kill on Kobe for the first time. Now Hawaii swinging back into action. Obese Chicken, they got like a 2v2 now with their support friend. Can they find that they can't, at least can't keep the point from turning? So Brad back on Tracer now, looking for the fight on Math Dealer. They're about half alone on this point, but no one is ready. Finally, Akamai makes themselves known. Find Obese Chicken as the Brad is one man pushing back Math Dealer, but not before they're shut down themselves. This fight still going. Neither team with a great foothold, but it's definitely Hawaii that's starting to make themselves known.
Yeah, Hawaii eventually able to settle in. You can tell Auburn for a bit was like, hey, we get 2 with Blizzard. Can we try and go back into this? And as soon as Obese Chicken dies, okay, maybe the reset is here, but now Consumer Rush will be used so early.
I mean, I think that's the right play. You got to use this here on Engage. You at least get out the trance from River God. Meanwhile, Agamai is pushing back in with this Overclock, finds one, looking for a little bit more. The Overclock's dueling. It's not going to be Riptide who's on top. It is Akamai absolutely right now. They just needed one pick to make it go through. Oh! Lizales takes a big hit there, manages to survive. Their own tack visor, this could be huge. If they're caught off on another angle, should Riptide push this hard, this might be interesting. Doesn't look like it's going to happen though, as all of Hawaii has committed to this one angle out. Or as I say that, here's Riptide pushing Lizales. If they can force out the tack visor, keep it from happening, that might just be enough, as the Brad has taken down Math Dealer. Olympia down as well, and that is going to be enough to force out the tack visor. No use there from Hawaii, and just like that, Auburn is in one fight territory.
And they have the Blizzard here soon to work with, which got them 2 kills early, but as you said, Hawaii did not elect to use their tack visor in that fight. They have the Amp Matrix from Banana Olympia if they want to tag it along, and they will at least start going the bump, but the Banana Olympia dies so early.
Tack visor still coming out here, but it's on the different corner than the window. No one can even really use this window. That freeze, that's going to be it. No chance at this point. You can't push through that Blizzard. No one even has a snowball's chance in hell dream of getting to that point. And the Tigers looking clean.
Tigers off to the start where we predicted. It is a 1-0 for the Tigers, and at least Hawaii, they did push them a little bit in that first round, but ever since then, it was Auburn sitting pretty comfortably as Kobe here with play of the game flex up, able to knock one out in the air. And you know, we'll give you a pass in the accretion miss. We'll give you a pass. It was a 50-50 shot which way they were going to move. But still a very great play there from Kobe, who we saw in chat earlier talking about the UTA game. But yeah, Auburn, they're definitely in a good spot right now, especially going into Pariso, where, especially if they start on the defense, what they're running is legitimately perfect for what they want to try and do.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how incredibly powerful Poke is on that map.
Yeah.
Like, it just shreds. I mean, I want Dive to be more viable there, because I really think that map is built for Dive, but the problem is flankers are just so weak in the game right now. And Pariso is a map that is built around flankers if you want to play Dive, because of all the different flank routes. There's all these different, like, you know, ins and out, all of the tiny little corners, all of the spaces that like collapse into open and close. But if you can't play flankers because they're just not good in the game, then it doesn't really matter. Like, we saw Echo tried to get played in a Dive, and it just, nothing could happen with it. One Torbjorn was all it took to completely erase any chance of the Echo finding any progress.
Yeah, all they had to do was put the Torb down, and the Echo basically couldn't do anything, as it will actually be Hawaii elected to go on the offense first, which
I like that take.
I think it's an interesting call. I'm
like
not
it.
sure.
You know what you have to defend for. You know, you're not.
Yeah,
just
that's true. If you're trying to think of it, hey, we have a better idea of our win condition on the defense, I can see it. I just think Auburn has the better comp for defense. But hey, if you want to try something new, maybe punch early, and it's better to punch early and punch with a surprise on your attack than your defense, especially when you go first. So we'll see what Hawaii end up actually trying to run here in the streets of Brazil.
I want to see them play something really weird. I want to see Hawaii pull out like a Lifeweaver Doom comp or something. Like I want to see them play something that we've never seen them play before, because I don't think anything less than that is going to beat Auburn University. I think if you're not coming in with a new idea, an exciting idea, you're not coming away with a win against this Tiger squad, especially with how adaptable the Tigers are. They play anything they want to, whenever they want to, with complete confidence, and no one has figured out how to affect them yet. UTA took a map off of them, and that's been the best success anyone's had all year. I think if you're not coming in with a new look they haven't had time to prepare for, that possibly no one has had time to prepare for, you're not finding success here. You got to open up the whole playbook against Auburn.
Yeah, you got to throw out anything you have in the kitchen, right? Like, no matter like how crazy it sounds, you got to throw everything out there. And funny enough, Auburn actually tried to pick offense first, but they forgot that because they won the first they won map 1, they don't get to pick that. So they will actually go on the defense, which may be something they didn't want to go. But we'll see. As we get ready to go here, Auburn will start on the defense, like we said, and they won't run the poke comp that we said would work so well here. They will actually run the same defense dive that we saw not work as well as UTA would have hoped just 2 matches ago.
Yeah, here though, Auburn looking to kind of change fate, change the reputation of this one. Meanwhile, Hawaii going with a very slow poke comp here. They've even got the Zen in the backline. I'm amazed that we're seeing so much Zen all of a sudden after he got nerfed. Like, I'm sure, whatever. Either way, it's going to be Akamai striking first here, getting out the Brad, taking into the backline now, going to get forced out by Kobe. And the Rez also coming through there. Great play by Kobe to make just enough space for Beast Chicken to find their Rez here. Now Math Dealer, very disconnected from everybody else, way in the backline, looking for something. Gonna manage to get out there with their lives, kept up just enough through all of the resources of Auburn. Keep this one moving. Say here, looking to find an attack on Riptide, gonna pay with their lives. The Brad coming in with Kobe for the team play on the focus beam, and that's gonna be our first big pick here. And still though, Hawaii not willing to let it go. Probably willing to let it go after that one, however.
Yeah, Namugi just continues to be aggressive. Like, all right, climb up Susan myself just to make sure I can stay up, even if it means that Kobe will go out of mech. I do think the Echo here on the defense does work better because you can really use the natural architecture to your favor for cover a lot more than you could on the offense. So I do appreciate that they're giving it a shot. I love how they're putting the damage boost on to Kobe to try and get them back in the mech. That is something that I don't think teams think of enough.
Brock just go through Kobe there?
Gotta love the hitbox.
Yeah, I mean, tiny little baby diva. Can't hit him. Either way, Kobe back in mech very quickly, almost loses it. Has to react very, very fast on that defense matrix. Overclock out now, looking for a little bit more, but once again, that matrix is just so insane to try and get past. Entirely nullifies that overclock. Not even really a good shot. Now the attack buys are coming in for Riptide on 1 health. They're gonna have to wait for the Kiriko to help him out. Shooting in the back line, getting everyone down to 1. Not finding a kill. So Kiri is the next stepping up to the plate. Sigma Lift finding times there. Not gonna be super impactful as the trance comes back through, leaving everyone nice and high and dry. Brad here looking for a little bit more on this Echo copy, not gonna be able to grab it, so has to fly back up into the sky for the escape. Remake bomb coming through. Brad under half. Are we gonna see the chase? No. Brad not choosing to chase down Math Dealer. So this fight just continues to drain time. Neither team able to find a chance here, and this just goes entirely Auburn's way. The longer this fight takes, the better that Auburn is looking.
Yeah, and they will eventually here, it looks like, give up a tick because of this Deadeye from Say. They're just going to keep them locked in that room. Eventually, Kobe will peek out, draw out the shot. But now Auburn will try and push back in as the second tick is achieved.
Beast Chicken flying up in the air, trying to keep everyone alive a little bit longer. Does look like Hawaii managed to make that progress with the Deadeye. That was the changing fate. Oh, huge res here. Can they get the remake? No. No, they cannot. And so Hawaii takes them a fat minute, but they do get this point in the longest 2 fights I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, considering they captured with 30 seconds left, and it seemed like that was just a very long fight. Probably, what, a minute and a half long fight. And at least Hawaii, you get to be able to push up now, try and gain control of the green buildings here, while Auburn have to kind of reset. Kobe is now on the Sigma, not on the Diva anymore, to try and challenge Hawaii vertically.
Yeah, I think the dive works a lot better on that first point than it does on the second two, especially on defense. And Brad here is still putting in a lot of work on this defensive echo. Akamai once again with the overclock, but Brad got in the back line and got the copy. Maybe adds a little bit more. No, copy gets canceled. Don't know what happened to Banana there. That's not what you're looking for in a fight that was really going Hawaii's way. Now, down their main healer. I don't know if they can turn this. They've got to put out a lot of damage really quick. They're going to catch Brad. Kobe up in the air. Can they do enough? No. Suzu is there. Great job by Nugami in order to keep everyone on the Kyriel to go back in. Fights continue to bleed on in time. Nugami is down. Kobe has their own overclock. Gonna pop it. Almost caught 3. Instead, just catches 2. But still, everyone stays alive other than Banana. Oh, no, it did catch 3. It did catch Banana out of the little room, and very quickly Akami after it. And so it is going to be Auburn winning this fight after once again another minute and 30.
Yeah, Auburn loves these elongated fights where, like, how much can we draw out of them before we actually win the fight? And that time, again, it was a lot. I didn't see it, but I ended up being hit with the flush, but I guess it must have just clipped them and did not have the lamp to save themselves. And now, as they on the cast still, they have the Deadeye here. If they want to try and just honestly pick off Obese Chicken or the Brad, it's worth it if you can try and isolate one of them.
Auburn, once again, looking to have one of their play-by-play voice-killing fights, taking it out as long as possible. 1 minute left on the clock. All they need to do is stall up for exactly that long, erase any chance Hawaii can recontest this. Amor used very early here. That's not great if you're Hawaii, because Riptide has this visor. Looking for an entry off high ground. Now gonna have to wait for a little bit longer as Obese Chicken pulling out the blaster. Oh no, not gonna go their way. Got hit by the body blocks. Copy out now for the Brad. They got the Sigma looking for that little bit extra, as honestly Riptide's been removed from the fight. It seems like everyone's just changed their direction. Brad here needs to charge this ult real quickly. I don't know if they're gonna be able to pop it in time. Just barely misses out on it. Fills the meter right as it ends. Don't worry though, Kobe's got their own Sigma Lift, and it's killing everybody. Riptide working with them on the tack visor, and that will do it. About 2/3 of the way through Streets phase is all the Rainbow Warriors are gonna be able to grab.
As at the end, you can tell, like, this is the final fight, even though it feels like it started an eternity ago. This is the final fight. Throw in the flux as soon as the dupe is gone. Throw in the tack visor. You might as well try and ice it there. Hawaii just under 100 meters. Just barely didn't get to the archway in Streets phase. But a very doable defense here for Hawaii, depending on how they want to set up. As, again, there were some great looks. I think Akamai is still playing extremely well, but somehow, somebody, they continue to find Banana Lumpia in these vulnerable positions and say as well from time to time that is really setting Auburn apart.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn is just playing like no team we've ever seen before. And the worst part of it is, like, you can't even adjust for them, you know, during the pauses between maps, like, because they're changing. They're calm every time. Like, it's always a new look. It's always a new thing. And you can kind of guess, like, oh, you know, oh, as I was, Brad's not on Tracy. I was going to say you can kind of guess Brad's going to be on a flanker. Riptide's probably going to be on a little bit more of a hit scan character. Megami really likes this Kiriko. Obese Chicken plays, I don't know, whoever looks cute that day, I guess. And then Kobe plays, surprisingly, what seems to be like the meta, the default tank for whatever the map might be. Like, Kobe seems to be the only person who is normal on the team. The rest of them, just absolute insane people playing whatever is working that day. And so far, it is working for the Tigers. Kobe looking to find nice little ricochet shots there up top as they slide on around, but this is the thing that we saw before, is one little Torbjorn can be really, really difficult for an Echo to get through here on attack. Not going to matter that once Brad goes down, or as I was once Say goes down, this is going to let Brad fly free, looking for a back attack now on Banana. Not going to be able to hit it with those stickies. So as a result, just going to see Banana hanging out that little bit longer. Still no real damage being able to reapply to them, as Riptide's trying to find an entry here. Not super able to find anything. Akamai with this railgun charged up, looking for the shot. They can barely see the head sticking out. Fires it off, does not hit. As a result, has to drop down to low ground, find a safer position, but that's where Kobe's hiding. Slides away just in time. And once again, we have gone on for longer than a minute in our first fight. Window coming out as a result. Kobe is getting dinked hard. Can they get out? They can, but Riptide cannot. The first kill comes through after over a minute 20 on the clock, and it's instantly rezzed once again. Math Dealer working so hard to control this fight. Akamai knocks him down once again. Riptide not allowed to live. And right when I'm thinking there might be a little bit of pace back on this way, it's not happening. The lift comes through. You're not going to live that one, friend. Kobe, so good at catching the edge of all of the players from Hawaii. And Auburn, I think, has this one. Yeah,
I think it's safe to say, they'll be able to lock down Akamai, and Kobe goes big. And like you said, they always seem to clip somebody with that flux that you don't think they're able to snag. As soon as they see the immortality field's gone, hey, find Say, they're able to find Math Dealer as well, and they will have a minute 20 more than Hawaii did during their attack entering this phase. And obviously, it's not like, oh, we have to make sure we still have a lot of time. It's like, hey, we just need to get it to 99 meters, and we win this map, and we set it to a 2-0 series scoreline.
A longer fight. That one took 2 minutes, but only took one of them. Some more time on the clock as Brad. Oh, Obese Chicken's on the DPS again. Pistol is pulled. They're looking for him. They're on the hunt. Can you escape, Akamai? No, you cannot. Oh, catches Say as well. And just like that, Obese Chicken has returned to their DPS support ways, pulling up the highlight reel.
You gotta get that highlight reel cooking if you're Obese Chicken. We know they're going to be aggressive. Same thing with Nagumi and Namugi. As, you know, they're going to be some of the most aggressive supports, almost hyper-esque in how they're playing in Auburn. They didn't push the cart doing a lot of that because they wanted to make sure they had the high ground control. But now that cart is entering the final stages.
Miracle ult countered with everyone else pressing Q. If you've got a Q button, now's the time to press it. Riptide going to be the one who strikes first, catching a DPS before the Transcendence can help out Octomine. Say now looking for something on this low ground, trying to shoot up at the Echo, fight them out. They fail, however. Banana strikes down. River God makes themselves known, but is it too little, too late? I'm going to say yes, it is. As Kobe waves goodbye, and the Black Mamba strikes again. Auburn improves to 2-0 on the match.
I can't. The wave during the flux is crazy. That is crazy confidence from Kobe. Well, you gotta have fun with it a little bit, right? You gotta have some fun with it.
Wave? Is this the wave?
No, this is the end of the defense, I believe.
Oh,
but yeah,
no, you're right.
The flux
right, that's a shame.
picks them all up.
Oh,
he
he
gets
still
the
waves
assist
goodbye.
on both attack fires. Oh, there's some tactical crouching at the end instead. Curious to see how Kobe tries to explain that one later. But no, Auburn is still in a great spot. This is kind of what we thought going into tonight. Hawaii, yes, they're pushing them a little bit here and there, but the Tigers are sitting pretty comfortable.
With that, we got to rest our voices after those long fights. We're going to do a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Map 3. And just like that, we are back into it. Hawaii versus Auburn, the late night extraordinaire. This time, though, not going the late night gamers' way. It's only about 5 p.m. their time, I believe, so that's probably why.
Yeah, roughly.
We've got the chill nighttime vibes, Miami Vice style. Meanwhile, they're like, it's the middle of the day. It's time for lunch.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're just had lunch a little bit ago. Probably gonna get ready for dinner after this. Maybe an early dinner set for Hawaii. But hey, I can't. Like, you're living in Hawaii. Like, do whatever you want. Like, it is one of the most gorgeous places on earth. But we will be going over to Saravasa next here, and potentially our final map of the night. We'll have to see if those Rainbow Warriors have it in them to push us to a watch point for the first time tonight, or if it'll purely just be Brazil and obviously Busan and Saravasa that we go to today.
I don't know that I've seen a push yet in EGF this season.
At
least on mainstream.
One, maybe. I'm trying. Yeah. My memory is not great.
I know there's been one. Yeah, there's been map 5s this season in EGF, but I personally have not gotten to cast one. Nope, I am wrong. As I say that, we had a map 5 in week 1, and I casted that game. The very first game we ever had in EGF this season was a map 5, and I casted that. So I've lied to all of you, and I'm so sorry. But I'm not lying to you about what's up next. It is an insane decider map for Auburn University and Hawaii Tigers versus the Rainbow Warriors. Riptide still hasn't chosen a character. There we go, friend. We got Brad on Hanzo, actually. And Obi's Chicken, we've been waiting for it all night. They're on the Moira.
Locking in the nails here for the Tigers. We've been waiting to see it. My first experience with the Obese Chicken Moira. I've heard stories, and now almost dies within a second.
Already on the flank. They're OTF. Everyone take your hat off. They are OTF. The mission has commenced. Riptide falling very low here, and sending them on it, looking for the kill. Not gonna find Akamai. Can Obi's Chicken get out of this? No. They did pull a little bit of attention. That's enough for Riptide to get a kill on his save. So kind of maybe they get it back out. Math Dealer now trying to hold this space as Kobe is pushing in deep against them. A lot of damage coming through, but no one has fallen. Brad falling to about 50 health, but staying alive here. Great support from Negami to keep everyone alive on no resources, but Kobe falls to their own rock, and without their long-standing captain, I don't know that anything can keep Auburn from just running to the hills now. Most important part, though, Hawaii did cap during that fight.
Yes, they did. So already 2/3 of the way to capping the first flashpoint. The Moira gamble right now with the flanks has not paid off here for the Tigers, as they have one fight to try and bring this back, or it'll be an early hole, and they know exactly where Obese Chicken is.
The point of the Moira flank is not it paying off. It's the fear. It's the statement. And Auburn making a very quick statement now, running in with this Kyriel. But Hawaii has a statement of their own to make, saying, hey, if you're going to run at me, I'm going to send it right back to you. Evening is right back up. Lucio ult now for Hawaii, trying to take this one to get a nice clean up here. Needs to find one little Kiriko. That hitbox, though, so difficult to hit, especially with the good AD spam. It's not going to be enough, however, to get through 3 Rainbow Warriors. And Hawaii is off to a 1-point map.
And it will be Obese Chicken. Now, they do make the swap, so they're not going to try and force it too much on the Moira. So we at least got to see it for a little bit, but the nails have been put away for the time being. Hawaii very clearly have an early advantage getting to this point. They've already been settling in here. They've already unpacked their bags, and Auburn just arriving.
Yeah, when you're not running a Lucio, those rotations on Flashpoint just become that much harder. Sigma left goes out, finds 2, but that wall is going to keep either of them from really being aggressed upon. Point going to get contested by Kobe at the very last moment. Another Sigma left coming through. He's going to find Banana this time on the Lucio. And Akamai follows closely after. Say is down, but, or as I would say, finds the kill on Kobe and also throws down their own Blizzard. And Hawaii once again has control of the point, but not control of their lives, as Obese Chicken, now on the Baptiste, puts them all to rest.
Auburn, once they make the swap, able to settle in just a little bit more. As now Hawaii, they have some pressure on them, as they did use a few ults during that fight. And Auburn now have the Blizzard in their hands, and Brad is they're on top of the Mega Room. They're just trying to see if they can isolate Akamai, but instead they will see the flank over. And now there's no reason to try and hide there. Instead, try and play for a wall off here at Choke.
No Baptiste. You gotta wonder how much it matters. This team has shown that they can play without Obese Chicken, and that's gonna be very helpful. Freeze comes through, Akamai's down, Immo out, Math Dealer dead. Say might be next, and yes they are. And just like that, Auburn University went to the store and checked items off their list. And good God, that was a clean fight.
That was such a clean fight. And even though Akamai had a very nice shot on Obese Chicken to open it up, it was just Brad puts down the wall early, actually not trying to cut anybody off, but just trying to get an early set place like, hey, if they try and go past this, we're going to throw the Blizzard down right away. And and have the time to get away. And just because of that, Akamai and Math Dealer both fall. And Hawaii knew they were not going to try and re-engage that, so they were already at the flashpoint 25 seconds before, so they can now evaluate where Auburn is trying to push.
Auburn University, 2 ults on the docket, third one, Riptide coming soon. Meanwhile, Hawaii has, both teams actually just have both support ults with another ult coming on the way. Fury ult coming out first for Hawaii, as it was for Auburn, matched by the window, but that's going to get walled out very early on. They're going to be trying the best they can to help out their tank. Going to be able to get even the credit for the save there. Window is out now. Overclock about to come through for Riptide. The beat through. That overclock not perfectly timed. Still finding their targets though. The beat does not matter when you've got aim like this. And Kobe hits the 3 and gets 3.
Nice little flux. You kind of don't realize sometimes that, hey, no, they used the flux as well. They just got caught into Math Dealers. So it was just a little bit of a delayed a visual glitch there. As you can see, Hawaii taken out. 24% though to their name. And you know, the DPS for Auburn can get back into this fight. The overclock for Akamai has to be the difference maker here for the Rainbow Warriors.
Akamai with their own overclock now. This one not nearly as effective as Riptide's though. They just can't find the target. Brad does have their Blizzard up. They're going to send it. Gets it right past Kobe, or as I was right past Math Dealer, and gonna start sending people to a nice cold grave. Oh, right as I say that, I've lied to you. Math Dealer manages to survive, but in the meantime, River God has fallen, and time is ticking out now for the Rainbow Warriors. Both supports now down. They've lost both DPS, and Math Dealer is not dealing out any geometry today, lads.
Hello.
It'll be Auburn taking the second flashpoint. I think he survived earlier in the fight with, what, maybe 20 HP? Something like that. It was crazy. As Kobe, just a little dance on the point, getting ready to go over to potentially the last few fights of this series, and they will have a nice little setup because they will be closest. You can see it's right here in Palace, and Auburn this time, I think the first time today, will actually be the disadvantage getting over to point.
Yeah, I mean, they've gotten set up first every single time, but it's been shown that they're not great at engaging on this War Eagle squad. Gary ult is out. Math Dealer is lost. Math Dealer is dead. They couldn't find what was hurting them, and Brad just takes that one to the bank, and everyone else on Hawaii gonna be sent home with their tail between their legs off of an incredibly aggressive fight from Auburn.
And they have yet to even cap. It'll be eventually Namugi who goes back over to point to try and make sure, hey, we actually get some percent going. Especially, on control, it's not as impactful because the percentages do build up a little slower, but on flashpoint, it is crucial. Like, cap that point and flip that point as soon as you can, because you only get 2 real fights at this, sometimes 3. This time probably closer to 3 here for Hawaii.
Hawaii, last chance coming pretty soon here. It's either this fight or the next one. Say doing a great job there running in on that beat. River God also providing some good damage. Obese Chicken, a little bit too ambitious there, but what is this? Auburn University grabs 2 picks, forces Hawaii to commit in a Blizzard as well, and that takes away a lot of the big ults that Hawaii needed to have in order to rotate their ult economy. But a stagger here on Nigami is absolutely massive.
Yeah, beautiful stagger there. Somebody will have to stay behind to try and be in teleport distance for Namugi to Swift Step, but still plenty of time to play with here for Auburn. It was a nice window there from River God to make sure they can open that up. And even though they lose 2 due to the Blizzard from the Brad, they're still able to turn it around.
Auburn now, only 1 ult in the bank with a carry on the way. Meanwhile, Hawaii looking to rotate their ults cleanly here. Not catching anyone on the Sigma lift, though. Great dodge by Kobe to keep him alive. Hit him with the crossover and juke them out. Agami, though, going to be taking Kobe down eventually as Riptide has committed the overclock. But they're just getting danced on by Banana. Wow, talk about Lucio movement. That honestly wins them the point, as they just completely nullified anything that Riptide could do. What an amazing play by Banana.
A beautiful play there from Banana, just dancing around and sends us to the final flashpoint of the map. And it's the best, honestly, Hawaii have looked all day. So now, going over to that final flashpoint, it will be very important to see who captures us first. It will be Hawaii who will get the positioning to at least start us off, but they don't really have many ultimates to work with. But that window in a very tight space, like that long hallway they just went down, could be a deal breaker.
Absolutely. Hawaii, their last chance to stay alive, gonna have to rely on that window. Meanwhile, Auburn, their last chance to put this match away right here and now. This point means everything to both of these teams. It comes down to point number 5, and Kobe's got the lift. They've got the cleave damage. They've got his isolated math dealer. They've got almost a dead math dealer. Have to get through Immo first. Gonna find it very quickly though, but not before Riptide's fallen. That's not a trade that you're loving though if you're Hawaii, as everyone else is following in quick suit. And just like that, Obi's Chicken has hit the Baptiste. They have asserted their dominance, and Auburn University is looking clean on point number 5.
Yeah, it just didn't end up working. Yes, the window was in a great spot. It was just a little late there from the Rainbow Warriors. They weren't able to capitalize it on too much just because at that point, Math Deal was already and almost respawning. So Auburn now have the ability here. They used the wall very early, though, so they're going to count more on this Flux in a window than they would the wall normally.
Riptide going to be falling early. That's been a little bit of a story as of late, but it hasn't mattered much. Oh, catches 3. Not going to matter too terribly much. That Lucio beat is there, and here's the aggression. May ult onto point, cleaving through. And honestly, Auburn there did a pretty good job of just dying as quick as possible, making sure that no one on Hawaii could charge up another ult.
Yeah, it's like, all right, make sure you get out. Riptide at least was able to get out with their life. Everybody else died on point fairly quickly. But they at least died on point, stalling it out a few extra percentages, which may make a difference later on. Flux now available here from Math Dealer. Akamai does have a Riptide soon to come, but it might end up being the support ults from Auburn. That could set them apart if used right.
Oh, one fight territory now for both of these teams. Obi's Chicken, their OTF, once again. It hasn't worked out great today. Can this be the time it finally does? Window is down. They're gunning. They're sending. They've got 1. Can they get 2? They've got 2. Can they get 3? Looking for Math Dealer. They're gonna grab it. Can they get 4 now? Finally, their rampage is stopped for at least a moment. At least delayed. We've been waiting to see the OTF play have success all day. It finally does. And it might be what closes it out for Auburn.
Hawaii have a little bit of time, but what a flank. Nobody sees it coming from Hawaii. Now they're on full stall mode as the Flux from Math Dealer misses. And that was the you needed to hit there. If you're the Rainbow Warriors, they will be able to touch. It will be the overclock available for Riptide.
Riptide's hit the overclock. Math Dealer already gone. No chance. Oh, brutal shot onto Banana. Riptide looking for a little bit more. Gonna find it. And just like that, War Eagle Auburn takes this one in 3.
3-2 on Flashpoint, 3-0 on the series. Fair play to Hawaii. They did push them around a little bit more that time around, but still just not enough that time. Is Kobe who is able to get play of the game, and beautiful. I think it's the Flux that was within a Flux. So he didn't even get hit by it. Yep. He was actually on the outside. Hits 2, finishes Akamai later on. But man, as you said, like on the flank, we've been looking for it. We've been looking for it all night. And in the final fight, the final true fight of the night, that is one that comes up huge here for Auburn.
I mean, you can never count them out.
No.
You never count out Obi's Chicken to pull off an insane play right at the end, and that's the one that closes out the match as well. The flank Moira didn't work. They had to change on the Baptiste. The Baptiste in the first couple of fights struggled to find their footing, and then right at the end, the one fight where it matters most, they're able to send it through with a classic Obi's Chicken play. Honestly, someone needs to tell Obi's Chicken that they're a support, because I don't think they fully realize that. I don't think they realize that at all. I think they're DPS that's just lying to everyone that they're a support.
It's like, oh guys, I just want to make sure I play, but like, it's okay if I go aggressive, right? Yeah. Right? Like, and you can see time after time, just play after play. Like, no matter what is going on, Obi's Chicken is going to be there. Did it always work? No, the Moira was a fail. Like, it did not work. Hawaii saw it coming from a mile away and made sure that Akamai was marking him the entire time. But Auburn, great job to them, and they will improve to even higher on the standings. And now, honestly, a game I want to see is them versus Delaware. That's a game I would love to see here very soon.
Well, before that, though, we're going to go to a short break. We'll be back in just a moment with the victorious Riptide, ready for an interview.
So do you think you guys are like more relaxed, I would say, more than a lot of the teams in Egypt? Do you think that's something that you guys have really like thrived in over these first few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not having any anxiety going into the matches is really good. I mean, you know, we had one warm-up scrim, but besides that, we haven't played in, you know, about a week. That was the last time, so I mean, I don't know. It's never really that stressful because we have confidence in our abilities, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, fair. And do you think now, obviously, you will play Delaware eventually here. Do you think that's a matchup that will actually push you guys a little bit?
I mean, it'll probably. I mean, they may take like a point or two, but I don't think it's gonna be that hard. I think we're definitely gonna win that. That's what I'll say. So.
Okay. I mean, hey, I love the confidence. You know, confidence is the most important thing going into any match. Is there anything y'all have done to like build that confidence, or is it just like we've got the results? Look at the scoreboard. We don't need to make any argument.
Yeah, at least in the Overwatch Collegiate Cup, we were consistently beating top 20 teams, and we were scrimming like consistently top 20, and we were beating them. So I mean, we have confidence in that, you know, especially when you look at some of the teams here and some of their rankings, it doesn't exactly always add up. But
well, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Najum Imtiaz. It's one of my buddies. So yeah.
Yeah, nice.
All right, shout out to him. Thank you very much for your time, and congratulations once again.
Of course, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, that was Riptide, and that has been Auburn and Hawaii. I think Auburn this entire season is just going to play Auburn Overwatch. They're on a different game than everyone else. I don't think meta applies to them right now. I don't think the patch applies to them. They're just having fun.
Yeah, they're just doing their thing, and you can't blame them. They're playing extremely well, and I like hearing the confidence even against Delaware, you know, who are the reigning champs for EGFC. They're feeling pretty confident in their abilities, and that'll be a matchup that I think a lot of people are circling on their calendars to see how it goes, because it may honestly be an early highlight or an early look in to what, you know, the finals may be come springtime. So very curious to see how that game's going to unfold.
Absolutely. With that, though, we are going to start winding it down here after this late night game tonight. If you want more esport action, don't worry. We've got more tomorrow coming for you. We've got Valorant and CSGO, double header of esport action that day. But for right now, I've been Loki. That's been Twin Salty. It's been Time to Light on the production. Have a good night, y'all.